We are live for week 8 Halloween slate. How are we doing, everyone? Going to be a fantastic Sunday. We are on Munich time this morning, everyone. Munich time, not London time this week. It is Munich time this week. We have the Denver Broncos versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. That game's kicking off very, very soon. And I promise you there's going to be a lot of people missing start-sit decisions in this game, especially on Halloween weekend. How we doing, everyone? We are live on YouTube. We are live on TikTok. It's not London time this morning. It is Munich time this morning. If you guys can see YouTube live, Riley ate a little piece of my hat last night, so might need to get a new math hat sometime soon. Good morning, Sam, Christian Kirk, or Benjamin at the flex today. Yeah, so we still have to monitor this Darrell Williams news. There's a lot of news to catch up on. As always, being up to date on the injury news is probably the biggest edge you can have against your league. You really have to, at a baseline, be up to date with this stuff. And one of the big things this week that I think might not seem big, but is, I think, kind of big, is if Darrell Williams plays. Because if Darrell Williams doesn't play, Benjamin, again, this week is locked into a near every down role. That's a pretty big deal. I think if Darrell Williams plays, though, I like Benjamin a lot less. So that really would be the differentiator for me in this one. I do want to play Christian Kirk, though, even though Christian Kirk, man, he's had 3 straight games against now the top 3 passing defenses. He's still, the volume that was there. I'm still playing Christian Kirk this week with some confidence. Really quickly, let's just pull up who's out today. So first of all, the biggest injury of the day, Zeke is out today. Huge news. Tony Pollard ranks number 1 in my running back rankings this week. He's playing the Bears. The Bears have allowed the 6th most yards to running backs this season. We know Tony Pollard, extremely efficient. He's number 4 in the NFL in yards per touch at 6.4 yards per touch this season. And they're huge favorites over the Bears. I mean, everything set to smash for Tony Pollard today. You have to start. You have to start Tony Pollard. By the way, if you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live. You can see my top 10 rankings, every position. YouTube live does answer a lot of the comments that I'm already seeing. Another big name that's out today, Deebo Samuel out. I think that's good news for Christian McCaffrey. I think that's good news for George Kittle and Ayuka. The bazooka, Matty Ice, has been benched for the remainder of the season. I do not trust. One of my big stances on this slate today is I don't trust Ellinger really at all. I don't know how it's going around from Ellinger. I trust Malik Willis with his legs more than I do Ellinger, who, again, both these rookie QBs starting for the first time today due to a benching of Matt Ryan and an injury to Ryan Tannehill. Sam Ellinger is not a guy I trust. I don't trust Malik Willis either. I'm actually picking against both these guys against the spread, though I am, you will see in a second on my DraftKings lineup this week, I am rocking with Malik Willis in DraftKings, and I do like Malik Willis rushing prop as well. I do like him over 47.5 rushing yards today. He averaged he had 175 rushing yards in the preseason, and he played about 2 full games in the preseason over the span of 3 games. I think he's going to go over 50 rushing yards pretty easily today. I think he could easily go under, though, like 150 passing yards. I think his passing yard line is like 140. He can't pass. He's not a very smart QB. He's not going to be able to make very good decisions at the line. There's going to be a lot of running for the Titans, but this is the perfect spot to be starting for Malik Willis. He's playing the dead last run defense in the NFL in the Houston Texans. I mean, it's perfect spot. We are at the point, Alex, where you got to bench Kyle Pitts. I don't think there's any way around it. He is in my must bench list this week, and it's tough. It's tough out here. Putting Kyle Pitts in my must bench list definitely gave me physical pain. Personally, an insane amount of Kyle Pitts teams. Over half my best ball teams, about half my best ball teams, I had Kyle Pitts on. If you're watching live on YouTube, by the way, smash the like button. It does really help us out. I'll be live basically right up till kickoff. I don't trust Paris Campbell. I get that there's a lot of hype for Paris Campbell as well, and this really is also tied into I don't trust Sam Ellinger at all. I don't think Sam Ellinger deserves anyone's trust, yet he is going to also be a guy that's running the ball. Sam Ellinger, let me pull him up for a second. He was a 6th round pick last year. He was one of the last picks in the draft last year. We have seen him a few times in the preseason. He's never really played, though, in a real game. I don't trust 6th round picks in the NFL. This guy, He averaged 8 yards per attempt in college. That ranks below the 50th percentile. He was like a above average college QB. He does have some running ability. That'll be interesting to monitor for fantasy. But yeah, I'm not trusting Paris Campbell. I know Paris Campbell's coming off his 2 best games of the season. I'm not buying into the Paris Campbell hype. And I also was a big – I thought Paris Campbell was a good sleeper this season. But guys, we'd be so quick to forget that Paris Campbell, he had under 10 points in each of his first 5 games this season. Now he's had back-to-back games with at least 11 targets, at least 7 catches, at least 55 yards. I mean, that is not, I don't think, going to be what we can get used to for Paris Campbell. I think he's going to go back towards the 5-target, 4-target range that he was in the first 5 weeks of the season. And I'm not confident in the Colts throwing the ball a lot at all today. So that's why Paris Campbell's a must bench. I think Allen Robinson is pretty risky with Van Jefferson returning. Kyle Pitts is just a guy, after last week, I just have zero faith in at all. I mean, it was really the nail in the coffin last week for me with Kyle Pitts. I thought I was kind of correct last week about the game script for the Falcons. That's why I was so excited about Kyle Pitts and even Drake London. But that's just not what's happening with Kyle Pitts. It's not what's happening with Drake London. In a game where they were trailing by 2 scores, they still only threw the ball 13 times. I mean, that is the nail in the coffin. They're playing the Panthers today. Even if that game's close, even if they fall behind, they were just going to run the ball way too much to trust Kyle Pitts or Drake London. Europe time, baby. Yeah, we got to prioritize these Munich time questions because we do have a Munich game today in Germany. That is the Jaguars versus the Broncos. That game will be on our TV screen in just about 30 minutes. Pick 2, Pollard or Taylor or Etienne. Yeah, so I have Tony Pollard ranked as my number 1 running back this week. So I'm not going to be answering a single question today that you shouldn't start Tony Pollard. You should start Tony Pollard. All right, then Jonathan Taylor versus Travis Etienne. That one's definitely, I think, a tougher decision. Obviously, you want to start both guys. My confidence in JT is definitely growing by the week, but I would probably play Etienne over JT as well. So yeah, I guess you got to sit JT in this situation. And then should I start Graham Gano for York because of the weather in Seattle? So let me pull up the weather today because we do have to talk about the NFL weather report. Weatherman Sam part-timing on these lives. Russ or Jared Goff? I would probably go Goff over Russ. Any word on Metcalf? No. It literally the last word I heard about Metcalf is that he's probably playing, which was really surprising. That was a very surprising report to read this morning. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but I think Metcalf is going to play. Lockett seems like a true game time decision. That was the last thing I heard on Lockett. Metcalf and Lockett are both playing through injuries. How do you feel about Josh Reynolds? I'm not a huge fan of Josh Reynolds. Amon-Ra will be back this week. I do like Amon-Ra a lot. Sutton or Pittman? Yeah, I'm nervous for Pittman. I'm not going to lie. Just for the same reason I'm nervous for Paris Campbell. I don't trust Sam Ehlinger really at all, but I still think you kind of have to start Michael Pittman given that target volume. Let me pull up the NFL weather report really quickly for us because there is a little bit of weather to be aware of. And it is in this game that the Adrian in the YouTube comments called out. The Seahawks game, the Giants game has the worst weather of the day. Again, that was already going to be probably pretty ugly offensively. There's going to be some rain and there's going to be a little bit of wind. Not a ton of rain, though, and not a ton of wind. We also have 6 dome games today. So 6 games in dome. Weather does not matter in those games. All the other games, wind under 10 miles an hour. No real weather to be concerned about. In this game coming up, actually, in Munich, is actually the windiest game of the day. 13-mile-an-hour winds in this Jaguars-Broncos game. Again, nothing to be really concerned about. Yeah, so the Giants and Seahawks game, from a kicking standpoint, yeah, I'm fine making that substitute for your kicker. But I wouldn't really move the needle on any player today because of the weather. So there's Weatherman Sam back again on this live. Don't worry about the weather today for the most part. I'm out here in Italy. That's what I'm talking about, Ethan. We are on Europe time this morning, man. Mostert or Foreman. Yeah, you kind of have to play Foreman, I think, today. With Chuba Hubbard out, it really does add a lot of clarity to the situation. For Deontay Foreman, I do trust Deontay Foreman a decent amount today. It's also just a good matchup for Foreman, who gets the Falcons today. And the Falcons' run defense has not been very good this season. They rank outside the top 20, I think, against the run this year. And then last week, Foreman also looked way better than I expected against Bears. 15 carries, 2 catches, 145 yards, no TDs for Foreman. I won't be surprised if he goes under that yardage total, but he scores a touchdown this week against the Falcons. So yeah, I do like Foreman more than Mostert this week. What's up, Sam? Do I get ETN or Ken Walker this week? Do I go ETN or Ken Walker this week? Back rankings scrolling at the bottom of the screen in the YouTube live. Again, if you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live. It's right in the TikTok bio. You get my top 10 rankings every position. I'll have my DraftKings lineup on the screen in a moment. Picks against the spread on the YouTube live. Just a little bit more flexibility on the YouTube live. I am playing Irv Smith over Kyle Pitts this week, by the way. And yeah, I do have Travis Etienne over Kenneth Walker this week. It's not a great matchup for Etienne, but with James Robinson out, this is going to be the first game we see Etienne with James Robinson out. I don't think you can bench Travis Etienne. I think he's going to be out there at least 70% of the snaps. I think he's going to have a much better receiving role than Kenneth Walker. And in a PPR league, that is enough for me to play Etienne over Kenneth Walker. Greg Dulcich or TJ Hawkinson at tight end. Yeah, let me pull up my tight end rankings. I've had these running back rankings up for a while on the YouTube live, and I do think Hawkinson's in these top 10. I do not think Greg Dulcich is in the top 10. So yeah, I'd play TJ Hawkinson over Dulcich. Lazard is out. Yes, Lazard is out. And that's big news for Romeo Doubs as well. Sammy Watkins also will be playing this week. So Sammy Watkins, Romeo Doubs, I think will be the top two receivers for the Packers. The Packers are huge, massive underdogs this week, by the way. 10.5-point underdogs because they're playing up against the Buffalo Bills. That game's probably not going to go so well for Aaron Rodgers, but I am taking the Packers at 10.5 points. That's just a lot of points. Why bench Paris Campbell? Yeah, I was just walking through that one a little bit, but you kind of have to bench Paris Campbell, in my opinion. I'm not buying into the hype. I think Paris Campbell's a little bit of fool's gold right now. I don't trust Sam Ehlinger. Sam Ehlinger was a 6th round pick last year, hasn't played in a game, was a slightly above average QB in college. Usually those guys don't become even close to average QBs in the NFL. He is just not a guy that I think is going to be able to sustain a good passing offense. Paris Campbell, he's coming off by far his best 2 games, maybe of his career, but definitely of his season. I honestly think it might be, his best 2 games of his career have been the last back-to-back 2 games. And I'm just going through the game logs, and that does appear to be true. His best 2 fantasy games have come in his last 2 games. He was a top 10 wide receiver in week 6. He was a top 10 wide receiver in week 7. I don't think he's going to see these 10-plus target totals, though, moving forward. He had 11 targets in week 6, 12 targets in week 7, after not having a single game with more than 4 targets in the first 5 weeks of the season. I think it's more likely what happened in the first 5 weeks than the last 2 weeks. So I'm taking a slightly wider view with Paris Campbell, and I do not have much faith in him. Ramondre Stevenson or Travis Etienne, I am getting a little bit more nervous by each week that passes with Damian Harris back healthy. For Ramondre, I'm for sure playing Etienne over Ramondre, especially if that's a PPR league. Why Dak? So Dak does not have a good matchup today. So Dak Prescott is up against, let me pull up. I do think Dak is pretty risky. I would play Malik Willis over Dak. The Bears have been a good defense, guys. The Bears have been really bad against the run and pretty solid against everything else. They've allowed the 3rd fewest yards per game to QBs this season. They've allowed the 3rd fewest yards per game to receivers, the 5th fewest yards per game to tight ends, but the 26th. They've allowed the 6th most yards per game to running backs. They've been horrible against the run. I don't think this sets up well for Dak. I'm still playing CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, Dak's not like the worst option, but I would be playing. And I'm also playing Dalton Schultz this week. I was sort of wrong about Dalton Schultz last week. He still doesn't look fully healthy, but he does look like a startable tight end moving forward. But yeah, I'm not starting Dak against the Bears, who the Bears have not allowed I don't think a single good quarterback performance. Let me pull this up. I have it right next to me here. The only good QB performance has come from Kirk Cousins, which was 22 points. They've held 4 different quarterbacks under 10 points, though, this season. I'm not feeling great about Dak against the Bears. I'm also taking the Bears against the spread in that game. That spread was pretty surprisingly high between the Bears and the Cowboys. The Bears coming off a very good game against the Patriots. Let me pull up my picks against the spread on the YouTube live so you guys can see those. Start 2, Terry, Gabe Davis, Sutton. Yeah, I think you bench. I'm okay benching Sutton in this one, and I doubt that's what the rankings in the WalterPicks app say. I'm nervous for the Broncos overall. I'm nervous for Russell Wilson in this game. He's dealing with multiple injuries now. It appears Sutton's still going to be the top target, so he certainly is startable. But I'm definitely very, very nervous for him in this game. Let me pull up the rankings here. I might change my answer when I pull these up because I have a feeling Sutton will be far, far ahead of some of these guys. Yeah, I do have Sutton ahead of Gabe Davis. I have Sutton ahead of both these guys. My rankings actually do say to start Sutton and Gabe Davis both over Terry McLaurin. And actually, now that I'm looking at Terry McLaurin for a second, he's playing the number one pass defense this week. The Commanders, who have allowed the fewest yards per game to receivers. So yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay benching Terry. I would bench Terry. I'd play Gabe Davis. I'd play Cortland Sutton. Pick 2, Sutton, Melvin Gordon. I'm playing Sutton over Melvin Gordon 1,000%. And then Marquise Goodwin. Marquise Goodwin was looking like an interesting sleeper this week. He's no longer an interesting sleeper this week. It looks like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, both going to play. Lockett is a game time decision. DK Metcalf, I thought he was out yesterday. And today there's a report. Sounds like he's going to play. People thought he was going to miss multiple weeks. All of a sudden, 0 weeks missed. For DK Metcalf, maybe he is just built different than the average person when it comes to the injuries. But looks like DK Metcalf's playing, and it looks like there's a good chance Lockett plays. And if both those things happen, we just cannot start Marquise Goodwin. We have problem. It's a 2-flex and running back league, and I have McCaffrey, Saquon, Eno, Mostert, Foreman, Swift. What 4 do I start? In a half PPR league, also, do I pick up Dobbs and drop Mooney? I think I would prefer Romeo Downey. They're definitely really close, though, and neither are like must start guys. You have to start McCaffrey. You have to start Saquon. So you only have 1 spot or 2 spots left, 2 flex in a running back league. You said 3. You got to start 4 of them. So you got to choose 2 more of these guys. I would play Swift and probably Foreman. I'd probably bench Eno and Mostert. I do like Foreman a lot. I do think Swift has a very, very wide range of outcomes for DeAndre Swift today. It is mostly just because we haven't seen him in quite some time. But that also includes a really high ceiling. That the tail end of that large range of outcomes for DeAndre Swift is the number 1 running back. Like, that's still within Swift's range of outcomes. If we go back to week 1, remember back to week 1. I know it's hard. It's been almost 2 months since the season started. But back in week 1, DeAndre Swift, 18 touches, 175 yards, and a TD. He was the number 3 running back. Back in week 1, he was the number 6 running back. Back in week 2, those are the only 2 fully healthy games that he's played this entire season. And the thing that I'm excited about for Swift is I do feel like they've given him a lot of time to return. So he might be 100% healthy, unlike a lot of the players coming back a little bit faster. So that could bode well for Swift, I think, and is reason enough for me to start him. Hey, Sam, how you doing? I'm doing great, man. CJ, we got football on our TV screens in like 20 minutes. I love the Europe time mornings in the NFL. Makes these live streams fly by, though. Should I start Jamal, George Pickens, Curtis Samuel? I don't trust Jamal Williams very much this week. That could always come back to bite me. I'm leaning a lot more towards Swift being very involved than I am more of a 50-50 timeshare between him and Swift, though it could easily shape out that way. But even if it shapes out that way where Jamal gets half the touches for the Lions, I'm not too excited about what those half those touches might look like. I would probably go Curtis Samuel with this one with Jahan Dotson still out. It is a really tough matchup for Curtis Samuel again against the Colts, just like it is for Terry. The Colts have allowed the least yards to receivers this season. But I still think Curtis Samuel's target volume makes him a pretty solid start here. George Pickens is probably the highest ceiling play, though, against the Bills. Pick 2, please. DJ Moore, Miles Sanders, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mostert, Gabe Davis. Yeah, I'm starting Amon-Ra again, and it was brutal. I mean, brutal for Amon-Ra last week, where he gets hit in the back of the head sort of after the play in the very, very beginning of the game, and he's ruled out for the rest of the game. It does sound like he will be playing this week and that he's okay, and that means you have to start Amon-Ra St. Brown. And, yeah, I think probably DJ Moore is the second one to go with here against the Falcons. DJ Moore looking like a pretty safe play in fantasy right now as the only talented player on his offense. Hey, Sam, non-PPR, Sutton or Judy? I love that we're back with the Sutton-Judy debates on this great Sunday morning. I'm going Sutton over Judy. Personally, I was in the Judy over Sutton camp before the season. I think I was wrong about that. It does seem like Sutton is the preferred target to Russ. But obviously, there's a chance any given week Judy could do it. I'm taking Sutton, though, against the Jags. That game starts in about 20 minutes. Kyle Pitts or Greg Dulcich. This one, I think I would go Kyle Pitts still. But in most situations, I'm benching Kyle Pitts. Foreman or Stevenson, I would go Foreman. Actually, I don't know if I could go Foreman over Stevenson. I do like Foreman a lot in this game against the Falcons. He feels very, very safe to me. And yeah, we do have Stevenson ahead of Foreman though. Still, I would go Stevenson still ahead of Foreman. I'm a little bit more nervous about Stevenson's workload than Foreman's workload because Damien Harris is active, Chuba Hubbard not active. But the Patriots are a better running team than the Panthers. Sutton or Foreman, I would play Foreman over Sutton. I am nervous for the Broncos offense in this game. Trevor or Rodgers. That's a very, very interesting one. Rodgers against the Bills. It's not a good matchup, but we also know that they will be losing in that game. But I think I would go Rodgers over Trevor in that spot. Hey, Sam, pick 2. Kirk, Wandale, Pickens. Pick 2. Yeah, I think you still have to start Christian Kirk. And then Wandale versus Pickens, I mean, that's about as close as it gets. I wouldn't be shocked if we have them back-to-back in our rankings. I do like both guys this week. I would probably side with Wandale, though. Wandale Robinson is the clear top target for the Giants. He's coming off a game where he played by far the most snaps of his career. He's a rookie wide receiver who didn't start the season healthy. He's the only talented guy outside of Saquon really on this offense. So, yeah, I do like Wandale. He had 8 targets last week, most of which, maybe all of which, came in the first half. He picked up a small injury in the second half, which also probably means he would have played even more last week had he not picked up that small injury. It does sound like that injury didn't turn into anything big. So, yeah, I do like Wandale a decent amount. I would play Wandale over George Pickens. George Pickens is an interesting play this week, though. I'm not saying Pickens is a must bench for everybody. Flex 1, Sutton, Najee, Singletary, Thielen, or Wandale. God, it's so tough to see Najee in these questions and not pick Najee Harris. But that's sort of the situation we're in with Najee this season. He can't break big plays. This offense is pretty sluggish. They're playing the Eagles, who have been the 6th best defense against running backs this season. They've allowed the 6th fewest yards to running backs this season. It's pretty tough out here. If this is a full PPR league, though, I think you kind of have to go Sutton over all of these guys. And then tight end Pitts, Gesicki, Schultz, full PPR. I'm going Schultz in a full PPR league over Pitts 1,000% this week. I still have zero faith in Gesicki. I still feel like I'd probably play Pitts over Gesicki. But yeah, I would play Schultz over Gesicki and Schultz over Kyle Pitts. Let me pull up my QB rankings. Let's pull the QB rankings because there are some new names on. Sorry, I think that might have been. No, I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. I see Malik Willis there. We got Malik Willis in the QB rankings this week, up there at number 7. Malik Willis getting his first start today. I'm very, very excited about Malik Willis today. By the way, I am playing Taysom Hill over Kyle Pitts this week. I'm playing most players over Kyle Pitts. I'm not playing Mike Gesicki over Kyle Pitts. I'm not playing Greg Dulcich over Kyle Pitts. Those are just a couple examples, but almost everyone else that has been asked with Kyle Pitts, I'm not starting Kyle Pitts. Again, last week was the nail in the coffin for me with Kyle Pitts. He's not seeing targets in the game where they're down multiple scores. They don't throw the ball. They do not throw the ball. They don't throw the ball. There's no situation where the Falcons are going to all of a sudden start throwing the ball more than 20 times. That just lowers the floor and ceiling so dramatically for both Drake London and Kyle Pitts that I can't trust either of them. I can't trust either of them. So, yeah, I would play Taysom Hill over Kyle Pitts, and that does pain me to say. Happy Football Sunday, Sam. Pick 3, DJ Moore, Eno, Boyd, Deontay Foreman, Sutton, Deontay Johnson. God, these are definitely. And Tyler Boyd is definitely in a place to benefit from the Jamar Chase injury. I do think I would play Tyler Boyd out of this group, and probably I'd play him alongside either DJ Moore and Deontay Johnson, or DJ. You can't play DJ Moore and Deontay Foreman. I think that's too risky on the Panthers offense. I would not start Eno in this one. We still are waiting though for the Darrell Williams news, which would be pretty big for Eno Benjamin if Darrell Williams is also out for the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are though up against the Vikings, who they have been really bad on defense, but they've been best against running backs. They've been horrible against receivers. They're in the bottom 10 in the league against receivers, against quarterbacks, against tight ends. They're in the top 15 in the league, though, against running backs. I don't love the spot for Eno Benjamin this week as much as I have in weeks past. Yeah, I think I would go DJ Moore, Boyd, and Deontay Johnson in this one. Hey, Sam, pick 2, Kittle, Goddard, Sutton. Yeah, I'm not playing Kittle or Goddard over Sutton. I do think I have both Goddard and Kittle really high in my tight end rankings Yeah, I think I would go. Yeah, I do. I have Kittle number 2, Goddard number 3. So I guess I would go Kittle Sutton over Goddard. Eno or Singletary PPR league. Seeing that one in the TikTok live. I think I do have Eno ahead of Singletary. Actually, I don't. I have Singletary one spot ahead of Eno Benjamin. Ranked 20th and 21st. Yeah, I guess I would go Singletary. They are huge favorites too. Huge favorites over the Packers this week. So yeah, I don't hate Devin Singletary this week. I'll pull up my wide receiver rankings next on the YouTube live. Again, link to that is in the TikTok bio. If you're watching live on TikTok, if you're watching live on YouTube, smash the like button. You always have Pat Freiermuth very, very low. But yeah, well, he's in my top 10 this week. So he might feel a little low, but I also really wanted to get Irv Smith in there. I actually think we're still waiting on official Darren Waller news as well. I don't even think Darren Waller's officially been ruled in, so that would move Pat Freiermuth up a little bit. And yeah, I might be sleeping on Pat Freiermuth just a little bit. He has been pretty good. He's averaging the 9th most fantasy points per game at the tight end position. He's the 5th most air yards in the league. He had 9 targets last week, even though he only played 65% of the snaps. I mean, they're pretty strong numbers. He was the number 4 tight end last week. But I do like these tight ends just a tiny bit more than him. Though I would say that they're all like after the top 3. You could sort of group number 4 through 10 like all in the same tier in my mind in the tight end rankings. Are you starting Malik over Geno? Yeah, I am. If you see my QB rankings, I am starting Malik over Geno Smith. I'm starting Malik over Daniel Jones. I'm starting Malik over Derek Carr. And you got to have a little bit of a tolerance for risk if you're going to start Malik Willis, because I'm telling you, he's not a good decision maker on the football field. He's going to turn the ball over. He's not a very good thrower, but and that's why I have him ranked so high this week. I think he could easily go over 100 rushing yards in his first game. I mean, this is a unique type of quarterback that you really need to understand what you're getting into with Malik. It is the rushing yards that you're starting Malik Willis for. It is not some prey in being wishful with the passing. I don't think he's going to be a very good passer anytime soon in the NFL. The reason, though, that I like him a lot this week is keeping the rushing in mind. Look who he's playing this week. It's the Houston Texans. It's the dead last run defense in the NFL. There's not a better first team for Malik Willis to be playing against than the Houston Texans. If you told me pick one team that you want Malik Willis to be playing against in his first start, I would have told you the Houston Texans, who are allowing the most rushing yards per game in the NFL. So yeah, that's why I like Malik Willis. I think he could rush for 2 TDs, 100 yards pretty easily. That would not surprise me. Pick 2, Walker, JT, Pollard. I'm not benching Pollard this week. There's not a single question today that I will be telling anyone to be benching Tony Pollard. He's my number 1 running back this week. I have him ranked ahead of literally everybody. There's not a single running back ranked ahead of Tony Pollard for me this week. There's no Zeke. They're playing the Bears. They've allowed the 6th most yards per game to running backs this season. There's everything checks out for Tony Pollard. He's been the 4th most efficient running back in the NFL this year on a yards per touch basis. I mean, he's extremely talented. He's extremely efficient. He's looked better than Zeke for the last year and a half, 2 years. And today, I think it'll be on full display with Tony Pollard. I think he's going to play at least 70% of the snaps. I think he's going to be seeing one of the bigger workloads in the NFL on top of the efficiency. We can expect like a slight decline, I think, in the efficiency for Pollard in his first game back. But I also don't think that matters much. I'd prefer a slight dip in efficiency to a huge increase in volume. All right, let me pull up this game. I do think this game's starting very soon. Got to figure out how to get this on the TV in front of me. Etienne or Olave. Yeah, I'm not benching either of those guys really today. That's actually the first Olave question I've seen, which I love, because it feels like, and Matt, I got you with the DraftKings lineup. Good shout there. It does feel like to me that people are starting to understand. Yeah, Chris Olave, you got to start him every single week. I've been saying this sort of since all these injuries started for the Saints, but even before then, Olave was looking like a complete smash play this season. And yeah, Olave's locked in, guys. He's locked in. He's a top 10, top 12 wide receiver week in, week out. He's really seeing like the elite usage you want to see out of your receivers. I have him ranked number 10 wide receiver this week, but I'm not benching Travis Etienne. I still think I'd probably play Etienne in a PPR league over Chris Olave. I like both of them a lot. Obviously, both rookies, a lot of talented rookies this season. But I don't want to bench either of those guys. I have Etienne as my number 6 running back. I have Olave as my number 10 receiver. Olave leads the NFL in air yards. There's no Michael Thomas again. There's no Jarvis Landry again. Is Michael Thomas about to legit miss the entire season with a toe injury? Is there anything more Michael Thomas than that? I don't think so. Let me know if there's anything more Michael Thomas than that. in the comments, though. Hi, Sam. Should I pick up Schultz or Taysom Hill? I would pick up Schultz over Taysom Hill. Let me talk through the DraftKings lineup really quickly. So my DraftKings strat this week. So this is a very interesting week with the two rookie QBs starting. Sam Ehlinger does run the ball. He is viable at minimum price on DraftKings. Malik Willis, though, is a guy that I prefer over Sam Ehlinger. I have more faith in Malik Willis's rushing ability. I think Malik Willis is a pretty significant than Sam Ehlinger is a better thrower. I don't know much about Sam Ehlinger. I don't trust Sam Ehlinger. He was the 6th round pick. A lot of people thought Malik Willis was going to be a 1st round pick. The reason he wasn't a 1st round pick, I think he actually ended up falling to the 3rd round, is because he can't throw. He's not a guy you can trust to throw the ball, but I don't need him to throw the ball for my fantasy line. I need him to run the ball. Over 100 yards, multiple TDs is what I'm hoping for in this lineup for Malik Willis. And paying down from Malik Willis really does open up what you can do with the rest of your lineup. And the lineup, my DraftKings lineup's on the screen right now, and the YouTube live link to that is in the TikTok bio. We've cashed 3 out of my last 4 DraftKings lineups have cashed. The one that didn't cash, we also had Amon Rao last week get smacked in the back of the head in like the first couple plays, and that made my DraftKings lineup pretty early on last week. But 3 out of my 4 lineups in the last month have cashed. This week, I'm feeling pretty good about this one. If I'm not playing Malik Willis, I'm probably playing Tua, though. I like Tua a lot this week. I have Tua ranked as my number 3 QB. So at his price point, I do like Tua on DraftKings. And the other thing that I like about Tua on DraftKings and FanDuel this week is has a very, very clear concentration of targets around Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. The stacks are just really, really easy, really clear to make with Tua. I do like stacking him with Waddle or Tyreek. I do like the spot they're in this week. But so I'm going with Malik Willis, though, in this lineup. Again, I trust his rushing ability. I think he has a legit path to getting 100 rushing yards. And there's only one other quarterback usually each week you can say that about, and that's Lamar Jackson. He's already played this week. Tony Pollard is a guy that is in every single one of my DraftKings lineups this week. Again, I have him as my number 1 running back with Zeke out, so I have to be putting him in my DraftKings lineup. I'm playing Josh Jacobs again. I mean, there's not been a guy to keep going back to more and more and more than Josh Jacobs, who has been one of the best fantasy football running backs this season. He's averaging the 2nd most fantasy points per game in the NFL, 22.2 fantasy points per game for Josh Jacobs this season. He doesn't have as easy of a matchup as he's had in the past couple of weeks, but I still think he is leaned on heavily in this game. So I do like Josh Jacobs a lot this week. Because I'm paying down from Malik Willis, I'm able to slide in Justin Jefferson into this lineup. The Justin Jefferson is a guy that is really expensive on DraftKings, but I do think he could break the slate this week in a very, very good spot for the Vikings. The Vikings pack is something that I'm willing to buy into this week. It's why I'm also playing Irv Smith in this lineup, and I don't hate playing Kirk either. In some situations, I have Justin Jefferson as the number 1 receiver this week. He gets the Cardinals defense that has allowed the 17th most yards per game to receivers, but I also just think the Vikings coming off the bye are going to continue to throw the ball a lot. DJ Moore is going to be really popular, but I do like him at his price against the Falcons. Garrett Wilson is my favorite low price target on DraftKings this week. There's no Corey Davis this week. Corey Davis is out this week. Garrett Wilson is in. That is actually pretty big news, I think, for Garrett Wilson. Probably bigger than people are realizing, because when you dive into the numbers for Garrett Wilson, guys, he hasn't actually been on the field in like an every down role for the Jets this season. He was dominating to start the season in terms of targets. But Garrett Wilson doesn't have a game where he's played more than 76%, 75% of the snaps. He's been out there like 3-4 of the snaps. He's running routes when he's out there, but he hasn't had a big game since Joe Flacco was playing QB back in week 3. I think that probably changes this week for Garrett Wilson against the Pats. The Jets are underdogs in this game against the Pats, which was a little bit surprising to me at home for the Jets. The Pats coming off in embarrassing defensive performance last week. So yeah, it will be interesting to see that Jets-Pats game. I am taking the Jets, though, against the spread, and I do really, really like Garrett Wilson, because with Corey Davis out, I see an every down roll, 80% plus snap share coming for Garrett Wilson, which he has not had this whole season, and the Patriots defense is not all that scary to me. And I like Irv Smith at tight end against the Cardinals. Cardinals have stopped 0 tight ends this season. Only the Seahawks have been worse. And then I'd like Kenneth Walker running it back against the Vikings stack. Justin Jefferson, Irv stacked against. So the Vikings are up against the Cardinals, not up against Kenneth Walker. But yeah, I do like Kenneth Walker stacked in this lineup as well. I might I will say I like the Commanders defense the most. Again, I'm out on Sam Ehlinger. Don't trust Sam Ehlinger at all for the Colts today against the Commanders. The Commanders defense, my favorite defense today to be picking up off the waiver wire or to be putting in your DraftKings lineup. There's $200 left over in this lineup though, so definitely some wiggle room. One thing I will maybe tinker with a tiny bit is trying to get Travis Etienne into this lineup as well. I do like him a lot. Sorry, he's not in the main slate though. He's literally about to be playing. So that is the DraftKings lineup for this week. Good morning, Sam, my main man. How we doing, Alex? It's a great day for some football. Yes, it is. With DK and Lockett being banged up, Gino kind of scares me. So Gino or Carr, appreciate you as always. Yes, you can see my QB rankings at the bottom of the screen here, and I'm okay. I am okay going with Derek Carr over Geno Smith this week. I personally would be going Geno. I do have Geno ahead of Derek Carr, and Lockett and Metcalf being banged up is definitely a little scary, but it looks like they're both going to play. We have them projected as both playing. Right now, the Giants have been a good defense this season. They've allowed the 13th fewest yards per game to quarterbacks this year. Meanwhile, Derek Carr, I think, has a slightly easier matchup. Yeah, the Saints have allowed the 17th fewest yards per game to quarterbacks this season, so a little bit easier matchup for Derek Carr. Don't hate it. I think if you're playing it safe, you probably should go with Derek Carr. How do you feel about the James Robinson trade? Yeah, so I was pretty excited about the James Robinson trade, mostly because Travis Etienne is going to be fully unlocked now. By the way, we are in Munich time. This game starts in literally 2 minutes. I have not been able to successfully get it on my TV screen in front of me yet, but we are going to have a game starting very, very soon in 2 minutes. And yeah, I would play DK Metcalf over Judy. It does sound like DK Metcalf is going to play. He's not 100%. Willis over Dalton. Yes, I am playing Willis over Andy Dalton 100%. That is something that I'm doing. Happy PR, Swift or ETN. Yeah, I'm going ETN, I think, over Swift. Again, ETN's going to be unlocked without James Robinson. I was a little sad for Michael Carter, but I still think Michael Carter leads the Jets backfield in touches definitely this week and moving forward, even if James Robinson plays well, because Michael Carter was already very involved in that offense. Hey, Sam, start Walker or Mixon in a PPR league. Yeah, so I have my running back rankings scrolling at the bottom of the YouTube live right now, which will answer a lot of the questions I'm seeing in the comments. If you're live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. If you're watching live on YouTube, smash the like button. Really does help me out a ton. But yeah, I think I would probably be playing. I'd probably be playing Walker over Joe Mixon. Kenneth Walker's been too good, I think, to bench in that situation. Brian Robinson or Pickens. Yeah, so I've been pretty down on. I had him as a must bench last week. Heat from that in the live stream. And Brian Robinson goes out there, only 10 points, doesn't score touchdowns, but I didn't think he would be very involved in the receiving game. He played less than half the snaps, but he had 20 carries, 22 touches. So yeah, I think I would go Brian Robinson. The 22 touches last week. I mean, 22 touches is pretty valuable, even if you're only playing half the snaps. That's still 22 touches. That's still probably going to be top 15 in the NFL in terms of just pure touches. So yeah, I do like Brian Robinson a little bit more than I was giving him credit for last week. Dameon Pierce or Chris Olave, again, similar story with Dameon Pierce. I mean, he's just locked into 20 plus touches a week. That is extremely valuable. No, there's no way to spin it. That's extremely valuable in fantasy football, even though he's on a bad team, even though he's behind a bad offensive line. I mean, it does have tremendous value, I think, with just how locked in his workload is. All right. Let's see if this TV can load, because it's not looking good for me getting this game on in time. Henderson or Metcalf? I would be playing Metcalf over Darrell Henderson. I have no faith in Darrell Henderson at this point. I'm very nervous for Darrell Henderson, to be totally honest with you. Pick two: Lamb, Smith, or Cooks. Yeah, you got to play CeeDee Lamb. And I would probably go Devontae Smith over Brandon Cooks as well. Taysom Hill, Irv Smith, Evan Ingram. Yes, I'd go Irv Smith. I would like Irv Smith a lot this week. I think Irv Smith is in a pretty great spot. I like his prop this week. I like him in DraftKings this week. I like him in season long this week. He's playing the Cardinals. The Cardinals have been destroyed. I mean, dominated by tight ends. It's them and the Seahawks that you want your tight ends playing this season. They've allowed they're both bottom two in the NFL against tight ends, and they're in their own tier with how bad they've been against tight ends. So Irv Smith, I'd be pretty surprised if Irv Smith doesn't get, at least 40, 50 yards. And maybe a good shot at a touchdown today. Aaron Rodgers or Malik Willis, how's your day going, Sam? It is going great. And Michael, the fact that I can tell you today, this Sunday morning, to be starting Malik Willis over Aaron Rodgers, I mean, it really does bring a smile to my face. I've been looking forward to, since I started my rookie research, which I do basically when the NFL season ends. I take like 2, 3, maybe even like 2, 3 weeks sort of away from content, and I try to just like heal from how much time and work I put into the season, and then I immediately go into my rookie process and trying to help improve my models that I built to project rookie success, and also just to figure out where I think guys should go in the draft. And Malik Willis was a guy that I was really excited about because he can break fantasy football. Malik Willis has the ability to break fantasy football because he is one of the best rushing QBs in college quarterback history. I mean, that's how good he was. And Malik Willis, let me just pull up the Malik Willis stat line just to really get this point across, because I don't think most people are talking just about what to expect from Malik Willis today enough. He had over 850 rushing yards in each of his last 2 seasons in college. He averaged over 90 rushing yards per game in college, and he is extremely fast. He's also not good at throwing. He is not a guy you can trust throwing the ball. He has a somewhat strong arm, but he has very bad decision-making and not good accuracy. So that tells me today, I wouldn't be surprised if we see more rushing attempts than passing attempts from Malik Willis. I like his rushing a lot, and that's good for fantasy if he's able to rush effectively. And I think he will be able to run effectively. He's playing the Texans, the worst run defense in the NFL. So if he can't run today, then I'll be fully out probably on Malik Willis. Again, I don't have very much faith in his ability as a decision maker and as a thrower, but I do have a lot of faith in his ability as a runner. And I think that's even more important for fantasy football, especially against the Texans. Hey, Sam, happy Sunday. Kareem Hunt, Brian Robinson, Hunter Renfrow. Thank you. Keep up the content. Thank you, Christian. I appreciate that. And yeah, I think you go B-Rob. Again, he saw 22 touches last week. He had close to that the week before that. Even though he's only playing half the snaps, he's seeing way more than half the touches. So yeah, I do like Brian Robinson, decent amount more than those guys. Amon-Ra, Hill, AJ Brown, non-PPR. I mean, Matt, you got to start all these guys. I'm not going to lie. You got to start all of these guys in basically every single league. But I would be playing Tyreek Hill over Amon-Ra and over AJ Brown. Tyreek Hill as my number 3 receiver this week. I think you could have him as your number 1 receiver realistically. Definitely something that could happen. I think you kind of have to be starting Tyreek Hill, excuse me. Hey, Sam, Eno, Benjamin, Cortland Sutton, full PPR. Also, why do you think the Giants are always underdogs? Yeah, I don't know what it is with the Giants. I was surprised about the Giants and the Jets. Honestly, both their spreads. I'll pull up my spreads one more time on the YouTube Live. Again, link to that is in the TikTok bio. I think I would probably go with Eno over Sutton. I'm definitely nervous for Sutton. In a full PPR league, it's definitely close, though. And yeah, the plus 3.5 today. I didn't put the matchups actually in this week, but yeah, against the Seahawks, plus 3.5 against the Seahawks. I feel like it's just a little bit disrespectful to the Giants. I do think the Giants win that game straight up. I've been picking against the Seahawks though all season and have been pretty wrong about that. McLaurin or Wandale full PPR. Yeah, I'm still playing McLaurin over Wandale. Actually, again, we looked at the matchup for McLaurin, and this is not a good week for McLaurin. Even with Jahan Dotson out, Colts are allowing the least yards per game to receivers this entire season. Not good for McLaurin. It's even worse for McLaurin, I think, than Curtis Samuel. McLaurin's running the more traditional routes. And Curtis Samuel seeing more of the forced targets. So I'm okay going Wandale. Sam, my guy, love the channel and subscribe to the app. Matt, my guy, thank you. Need QB advice, Dak or Malik? Thoughts on Malik? Yeah, so again, I'm playing Malik over Dak. I don't love Dak this week. Dak is not in a good spot this week. The Bears have allowed the 3rd fewest yards per game to quarterbacks this entire season. They've been good against QBs. The Bears defense has been good against tight ends. The Bears defense has been good against receivers. They've been top 10 against all those positions. They've been bad against running backs. They have not a good run defense. That's good for Tony Pollard. It's bad for the rest of the Cowboys offense. I'm still starting CeeDee Lamb. I'm still starting Dalton Schultz with how bad the tight end landscape is, but I don't love Dak this week. Malik is risky, though. Don't get me wrong. Again, Malik, my expectations for Malik, and I'm excited to watch Malik today. Honestly, might be what I'm most excited about for today. But Malik Willis, he can't throw. I don't think he's going to throw effectively in this game against the Texans. He's not a good decision maker. He could easily turn the ball over a few times in this game, depending on how much they ask him to throw. But I don't think they're going to ask him to throw that much. They know what they have in Malik Willis. They have he's going to be like it's hard to explain his running style because it's not like Lamar Jackson at all. It's honestly, I guess, a little bit more like Cam Newton-ish, but he can't throw as well as Cam Newton could throw. But he's going to be on like that tier of rushing QB, I think, he was on that tier in college. That's why I feel confident saying that. He averaged almost 90 rushing yards a game in college. I mean, the list of guys that have done that in college is extremely short. And you're going to see some pretty impressive names like Lamar Jackson, like Michael Vick, like Cam Newton on that list of guys. So, yeah, I do like Malik Willis rushing today. And then you look at the matchup, like all that analysis I just gave had nothing to do with the matchup. And then you look at the matchup, he's playing the Texans, the dead last run defense in the NFL. So, yeah, I think that the Titans are going to run the ball maybe 40, 50 times in this game. Derrick Henry probably going to get close to 30 carries. I think Malik Willis going to run the ball more than 10 times in this game. And I think he has a path in that scenario to getting 100 rushing yards, to getting multiple rushing TDs against the Texans. So, yeah, I do like Malik more than Dak today by a small-ish margin, I guess you could say. Let me see if I can get this game up. NFL Plus looks like it's on. I don't even. You guys watching this game on NFL Network? This game's about. I think it already started. My TV's been. Let me try to reset this. Pick 2 for the flex: Waddle, Smith, Mostert, Olave. Yeah, I think I'd probably bench the middle too. I think I would play Waddle and Olave with a lot of confidence. I think Olave is ESPN Plus. Oh God, it's on ESPN Plus. You need to pay to watch this game for ESPN Plus, or is it just on ESPN? It's on ESPN Plus. Oh gosh, a crack stream. Someone saying, "Oh God, I don't want to do that." Terrible. Yeah, this is not a good viewing experience right now for me. Let's see if I can go to watch ESPN. If it's on ESPN Plus though, I mean it's not going to be good. Oh, it is. It's only ESPN Plus, I think. I mean, this is. Oh man, you hate to see it. You really do. You really do. I think I'm just going to be following along with this game and not actually watching it. We'll get back to some of the comments in the YouTube live, in the TikTok live. Does look like this game already started, and it looks like Gordon carry yards. Looks like the Broncos started with the ball, or they just got the ball. Not much has happened though. Both teams have had the ball once already though. All right. And time to win this week. Pick one: Ayuk, Boyd, Thielen, PPR. The game, by the way, is ESPN Plus, I think. Yeah, so it's on ESPN Plus. They're making you pay for the game. I mean, it's like how many different streaming services do we need? We got ESPN Plus, we got NFL Plus, we got Amazon Prime. I mean, it's too much. It's too much. Like, let's go back to the simpler times where you subscribe to one thing, you get all the games. It's too complicated, man. It's just too many. It's too many streaming services. All right, Ayuk, Boyd, Thielen, PPR. I would probably go Ayuk, Boyd, Thielen. Yeah, so Ayuk gets a bump, right? Because Deebo Samuel's out. Boyd gets a huge bump, though. Huge bump with Jamar Chase out. I mean, Jamar Chase being out, another one of these huge injuries that really Boyd has come on of late, but this injury makes me more confident about him going into this game. Same thing with T. Higgins. It's not necessarily the best matchup. They've been about average against receivers. That is the Browns that they're playing against this week. But yeah, I do like Boyd, I think, the most. I trust Boyd the most, I think, out of those three guys. Good morning, Sam. Geno Smith or Kirk Cousins? Yeah, I think I would probably go. I'd probably go Kirk over Geno. Yeah, I do have Kirk ranked ahead of Geno in my rankings on the YouTube live as well, which gives me more confidence in that answer. Devontae Smith or Amari Cooper? That one's really tough. I do like Coop. I do like Coop a lot. I think he's been really solid. He gets the Bengals this week, who have been, I think, pretty good against receivers. Yeah, they have. They've ranked number 5 against receivers this season. Meanwhile, the Eagles and Devontae Smith, they're not in the same situation. They get a matchup against the Steelers, who have ranked dead last against receivers this season. Their secondary is still extremely beat up. So yeah, I'm okay going with Devontae Smith in that situation. Boyd or Terry. I'd go Boyd over Terry. Terry has the dead last matchup this week. Why bench Paris Campbell? Paris Campbell's coming off his 2 best games of his career. Back-to-back best games of his career. Meanwhile, Sam Ehlinger is starting. And the previous 5 games before that, where Paris Campbell had really good games, he didn't go over 4 targets in a single game in the first 5 weeks of the season. His floor is really low still, and I don't think this usage is something that we should get used to with Paris Campbell. And I do not trust Sam Ehlinger to throw the ball effectively. Sanders or Swift. I want to start DeAndre Swift. If I have Swift, I really want to start DeAndre Swift. We have Sanders ranked 19th in the WalterPicks app this week. That might be a tiny bit low given how big of a favorite the Eagles are in this game. But yeah, I would start Swift personally. I just really am attracted to the ceiling for DeAndre Swift in this game, even if he's not going to play, even more than half the potentially. Good morning, Sam. Good morning, Devin. It doesn't feel like even morning to me anymore. I'm on Munich time. This morning, there's a game going on right now between the Broncos and the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, pass, short right. Travis Etienne, who has 2 catches in this game already. You love to see it for Travis Etienne, why he was a must start this morning. He will be a must start pretty much every week from here on out. TJ Hawk, Myers, or Campbell at flex. Yeah, so I'm benching Paris Campbell this week. I'd play Jacoby Myers for sure in this one. Honestly, pretty easy choice for me here. Let me pull up the must bench guys. Again, some guys that I just can't get myself to start. Again, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being in this live stream. Hit the like button if you're watching live on YouTube. Hit the follow button if you're watching live on TikTok. Also, if I don't get to your start sit question, the best place you can possibly go is in the WalterPicks app on the iOS and Android app store. I've personally helped build this app over the last 3 years. It takes into account your custom roster settings, your custom scoring settings in your league, helps you with your start sit decisions, helps you with your trades, helps you make your DraftKings, FanDuel lineups, helps you with your player prop decisions. Everything is that you need. You get the help right in the WalterPicks app, and it's completely free to download, completely free to try out. That's the best place to go if I can't get your start sit question on this live, or even if I can, it's another good place to go to get some thoughts on your start sit decisions. All right, let's get back to some of the comments in the live stream. Does look like that Travis Etienne is just marching a little bit right now against the Denver Broncos. 2nd and 14, though, it looks like. Sorry, 1st and 10 now. There was a 15-yard run on 2nd and 14 is what I'm reading on the streamcast here. Get Michael Hasty, though, out of the game, please. Hi, Sam. Danny Dimes, Gino, or Willis. Yeah, so this one's definitely close. I'll put my QB rankings one more time on the YouTube Live as well. I think I would probably be going Danny Dimes and Gino. I'd be benching both those guys from Malik Willis. Personally, I think Willis probably is riskier than both guys. But again, I like his rushing today against the Texans. Dead last rushing defense. Willis is a good runner. Again, I think he could run close to 100 yards today. That's why I'm playing Malik Willis in my DraftKings lineup as well, which you can see right now on the screen on the YouTube Live. See if I can successfully get Michael Hasty a catch. They're just only using the running backs, it sounds like, in this game. Mostert or Walker? Yeah, I'd play Walker over Mostert for sure. Russell Wilson saying that he's playing is just so classic Russell Wilson. Yo, Sam, DK Carter or B-Rob? Pick 2. Yeah, I would probably play. I'd probably go Carter and B-Rob or DK and B-Rob. I think you got to play B-Rob again. He had 22 touches last week. That's a very good sign for him moving forward. I still like Michael Carter this week, though. I might bench DK with his injury there. Hey, Sam, 2-year WalterPicks up here. Zach, thank you so much, man. Yeah, the number one way you can possibly support me and the WalterPicks brand is by trying out one of the premium subscriptions in the WalterPicks app. Looks like some Wi-Fi troubles in the TikTok live. Lockett, Foreman, Cooks, half PPR. I feel like Lockett is the answer, but if he doesn't play, I have no one to go to. Yeah, that is risky. Lockett is a true game time decision. It sounds like Metcalf is also playing, which makes Lockett even a little bit riskier than he would have been if Metcalf wasn't playing. So yeah, I think I would go Foreman I think I would go with Foreman. I think Foreman's probably going to be locked into. Is this true? Is this true? Evan Ingram, touchdown, 22 yards from Trevor Lawrence. You love to see it, Zach. You love to see it. Evan Ingram was a staple in a lot of my best ball lineups this season. We got a TD from Evan Ingram in the first game of the week. Taysom Hill or Pitts? Yeah, I'd play Hill. I'd play Taysom Hill over Kyle Pitts. I would be playing Taysom Hill over Kyle Pitts personally. Sam missed me last week. Eno or Ramondre, then DK, Thielen, or Cooks. Got you, Max. I would play Mondre over Eno still. And then DK, Thielen, Cooks is definitely very close, but it does sound like DK Metcalf is playing. So I feel inclined to say DK Metcalf. We do have Cooks not that far behind DK Metcalf in our rankings, only 2 spots behind him. Is a good matchup for Cooks in this game against the Titans. The Titans have allowed the 3rd most yards per game to receivers this season. So it's by no means a bad matchup for Brandon Cooks. So I'd say Cooks is safer, but I still would personally be playing DK because we do know DK is playing. Yo, Sam. Yo, Luke. How we doing, man? Start T. Higgins, Amon-Ra, A.J. Brown, Chris Olave, PPR. Start 2. T. Higgins, Amon-Ra, A.J. Brown, Olave. Yeah, I want to start all of these guys, but you have to start T. Higgins, and I kind of feel like you got to start A.J. Brown too. I as much as I love Amon-Ra and as much as I love Chris Olave, I think you got to be starting A.J. Brown, and I think you have to start T. Higgins. If you're not going to start A.J. Brown, I think I would go Amon-Ra next, then Olave. But again, all 4 of these guys, really, really good options. Darrell Henderson versus Van Jefferson or Tyquan Thornton. PPR, yeah, I don't trust Darrell Henderson at all, but I'd still go D. Hendo over Van Jefferson, over Tyquan Thornton. Tyler Boyd or CD, you got to go CD over Boyd. I get the Boyd love, but let's not get ahead of ourselves with that one. Good morning. Hopkins or Pollard as my flex. You have to start Tony Pollard this week. There is no getting around it. There's no getting around it. You need to start Tony Pollard. If you have Tony Pollard on your team, he needs to be in your starting lineup. Should I do Gesicki or Hurst as my tight end? Yeah, I'd probably prefer Hurst with Jamar Chase out over Gesicki. I am playing Taysom Hill over Kyle Pitts this week. Let me run through one more time the players that I am not starting this week. I do not think you should start these guys this week in most situations. Damien Harris, I want nothing to do with Damien Harris with how good Mondre's been and how little Damien Harris was involved in his first game back. I'm still a tiny bit nervous for Ramondre that Damien Harris could become more involved. But yeah, for Damien Harris in fantasy, I don't think you can start him. And then Drake London, Kyle Pitts, after last week, that was the nail in the coffin for me with Falcons passing offense. I do not think they can be trusted now rest of season. Allen Robinson, I'm a little bit nervous for in this game because Van Jefferson is returning. Paris Campbell, back-to-back best games of his career for Paris Campbell. Now he's Sam Ehlinger throwing the ball. He had no more than 4 targets in a single game in the first 5 weeks of the season. I just think people are too quick to forget the floor for Paris Campbell is close to 0 points. And I'm not willing to hop on the hype train for Paris Campbell just yet, even though I actually liked him a lot heading into the season. Jamal Williams, I think Swift is back and going to see at least half the touches in this backfield. Chase Edmonds is an afterthought in the Dolphins offense now. Marcus Mariota is not someone that I want to be playing in their matchup. As also just knowing that he will not throw the ball even if they get behind. They have no faith in Mariota's ability to throw the ball, so I have no faith in Mariota's ability to throw the ball. And then Dak. Dak's in a tough spot against the Bears. The Bears have allowed the 3rd fewest yards per game to quarterbacks this season. They've been really bad, though, against the run, which is why I do like Tony Pollard a lot this week. Another guy I do like this week is Malik Willis. I think he's going over 47.5 rushing yards, which is the line that they set. I think that this is one of these opportunities that you don't get most NFL seasons with the player prop lines, where we have Malik Willis. He has never played a game in the NFL. The player prop line makers, they do not know enough to accurately set this line. Malik Willis could get close to double this prop line today. Very possible against the Houston Texans' last ranked run defense. I don't think that Malik Willis is going to be trusted to throw the ball very much today. And I do think he will be used a lot as a runner. Hey, Sam, Mostert, Swift, and Olave, pick 2. Half PPR. Hope you have a great day. Thanks, Devin. Hope you have a great day as well. It already is a great day, Devin. We already have football on our TV screen. We already have Evan Ingram dunking on the Denver Broncos. And, man, I hope this opens this game up, too, because we have Evan Ingram scoring the first touchdown of the day against the Denver Broncos in Munich. That game's going on right now. I think the Broncos are about to get the ball back. Who didn't play a snap last week? AJ Green will be active today. That will be interesting to see if AJ Green sees 0 snaps back-to-back games. My favorite low-priced wide receiver, by the way, on DraftKings, seeing that comment in the TikTok live, favorite low-priced wide receiver on DraftKings today, it's Garrett Wilson. I really like Garrett Wilson today compared to where people are projecting him and what his cost is on DraftKings and FanDuel. I think Garrett Wilson is going to have a good game against the Patriots with no Corey Davis. Pitts or Harrison Bryant, full PPR. Yeah, Casey, this is where we're drawing the line. I am playing Pitts over Harrison Bryant. I am playing Pitts over there's a couple other guys. I am playing him over Greg Dulcich, I think was another guy that was tossed out there. I'm playing Pitts over Dulcich. These really, really fringe guys Harrison Bryant, he is stepping in for Njoku. He could see a near every down role potentially, but I'm still playing Pitts over him. Van Jefferson or Tyquan Thornton, have a good day. Thanks, Reese. I would probably play Van Jefferson over Tyquan Thornton. We're still waiting, though, for the official reports on Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne. If both those guys are out, then I'd probably go Thornton in this one. If not, though, then I don't think I would. Does sound like Kareem Hunt has a pretty good chance to get traded. That is going to be a very good thing. That's a very good thing for him, for fantasy, for sure. Wan'Dale Robinson, Terry McLaurin, Deontay Johnson, pick one. I would go Deontay. I definitely wouldn't go Terry. I'd play Wan'Dale over Terry this week. Good morning, Sam. 10-man PPR. Pick one, Myers, Pickens, or Cooks. Yeah, I think I'd probably go Jacoby in this one as well. I think I would go Jacoby, then Cooks, then Pickens. All three definitely startable, though, in their respective spots. I look frozen on the TikTok live. Looks like maybe I'm not frozen. TikTok live being very, very glitchy today, though. Garrett Wilson or Jacoby Myers, PPR. Yeah, I'd go Jacoby over Garrett Wilson, though. Again, I do like Garrett Wilson at his cost and perceived expectations this week. Garrett Wilson, Jacoby, though. Yeah, he's got to be Jacoby. Jacoby's still in the top 20 in fantasy points per game at the wide receiver position. Mac Jones is getting the start today. By the way, I was at that Patriots game last week, and is there a worse fan base than the Pats? It's just like so brutal. The Pats fans at that game, just trying to destroy Mac Jones' confidence. It's like, well, we're doing the opposite of what we should be doing here as Pats fans. DFS lineup, yeah. So if you come to the YouTube live, link to that's in the TikTok bio. I do have my DraftKings lineup on the screen right now in the TikTok live. I'm still actively trying to get the Broncos-Jaguars game on my actual TV screen, but I have been following along with the game, and it looks like pretty quickly the Jaguars just got the ball back. I did have Courtland Sutton, Judy as guys that you probably should be trying to bench in fantasy football before the game started, and it does feel like that was a good call so far. Right now, the Jaguars are really dominating this game, up 7-0 with the ball. Melvin Gordon, 2 carries, 6 yards. Latavius Murray, 1 catch, 13 yards. Basically nothing from the entire Broncos offense so far. Hayden Hurst or Kyle Pitts, just download the ESPN app on your TV. Yeah, so that's what I'm hearing is it's the ESPN app, but it's also ESPN Plus, and I don't subscribe to ESPN Plus. I just have the normal ESPN package through my internet provider, right? Verizon. It's ridiculous how many streaming services you need to watch all of the games. But I do have NFL Plus, so I do think that NFL Plus gives me access to this game. I'll give you my login. Thanks, man. I should just get ESPN Plus, but I'm not going to do it live on stream right now. Mostert, Swift, Olave, pick 2. I would go with Swift and Olave over Mostert. That comment came from the YouTube live. Link to that, by the way, is in the TikTok bio. Oh, and guys, I think I got it. I think I maybe did get it. Maybe I didn't. We'll see. No, you still need ESPN Plus. Even if you have NFL Plus. Dameon Pierce or Mondre for a high ceiling flex. I'm playing Dameon Pierce over Mondre. Personally, I think that he's just a little bit safer of an option. Happy game day, Sam. Happy game day, man. Amon-Ra Kenneth, Dalvin Cook at the flex. Yeah, all three of these guys, really, really good options. I probably would say, let me pull up the official rankings here. My gut though does tell me to say Kenneth Walker over Dalvin Cook and over Amon-Ra. It feels weird But yeah, I do have Kenneth Walker ahead of Dalvin Cook. And Amon-Ra is a guy that I want to be playing, but I don't think he's as safe as Kenneth Walker is. I'd probably go Kenneth Walker over Amon-Ra and over Dalvin Cook. Again, it feels weird to say out loud, but yeah, I'm playing Dameon Pierce over Mondre as well. Gabe Davis or Boyd. I would go Boyd over Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis is a walking landmine still in fantasy. We haven't quite seen it, but he doesn't have a game with more than 4 catches. He doesn't have a single game with more than 4 catches. That's Gabriel Davis. He scored on like, what is it, a fourth of his catches? Yeah, he scored on over 1/4 of his catches this season. Still not a game with more than 4 catches. He actually only has 1 game over 3 catches. I mean, the floor for Gabe Davis is still extremely low. We just have seen more of his ceiling this season. Tyler Boyd or Deontay Foreman. I personally would be going Foreman over Boyd. Waller or Irv Smith. I'm leaning towards Irv Smith over Waller this week. I'll pull up my 10 end rankings on the YouTube live here as well. And we actually still need to report on Darren Waller, whether he's actually active or not. So first 3 possessions for the Broncos offense, 3 and out, interception, 3 and out. Raiders tight end Darren Waller, listed questionable for today's game, is expected to test his hamstring in pregame warmups before a decision is made to whether he'll play today versus the Saints. So true game time decision for Darren Waller. Let's see what time that game is, because you might have to. No, that game's at 1. So yeah, we'll know closer to kickoff if he's actually playing. But yeah, Darren Waller has to test out pregame, and so yeah, I would lean Irv Smith. Amon-Ra or Olave. God, I want to start both those guys like really, really badly. I would probably play Amon-Ra over Olave, but it's really close. I mean, both guys I think are really good options this week, and they're really good options pretty much every single week. Does seem like Travis Etienne has been very involved to start this game. A lot of catches, a lot of runs. Evan Ingram is the one that scored the TD, though. 22-yard touchdown for Evan Ingram. Pickens or Higbee, half PPR. I'm not ever starting 2 tight ends. I almost never want to be starting 2 tight ends. So, yeah, I'm going with benching Higbee in that situation. Last one, I got you. Michael Pittman or Amon-Ra. Yeah, I honestly like Amon-Ra more than Michael Pittman this week. And only because I don't trust Sam Ehlinger. I do not trust Ehlinger, like at all. I see a very bad game for Ehlinger. I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't play bad. That's Sam Ehlinger. He was a 6th round pick. End of the 6th round. He was basically picked in the 7th round of the NFL draft last year. He hasn't played a game in the NFL. He was a slightly above average QB at Texas. He ranked below the 50th percentile yards per attempt. His quarterback ranking was just a little bit above average in college. Usually those guys don't end up being above average in the NFL. He does have some legs, like he can run, which will be interesting. How much he runs and how effectively he runs will be interesting. But he's not the type of runner that Malik Willis is. Malik Willis is a elite running quarterback. I mean, truly elite. He averaged over 90 rushing yards per game in college. There's very few guys that have done that ever in college. I mean, the list is very short, and it's some pretty elite running quarterbacks that we've seen in the NFL do pretty well. Plus, Malik Willis is playing the Texans. I trust Malik Willis much more than Ehlinger today. I don't trust any of the pass catchers, though, for the Titans. I'm not trusting Robert Woods. Don't think he's going to throw the ball effectively either. DK Metcalf or Deontay Johnson in a full PPR league. Yeah, I'd probably side with I personally would probably go with DK Metcalf in that one too. It does, again, sound like Metcalf is playing. It sounds like Metcalf is playing. And that's it's a little scary, right? Because we know he's not 100%. It sounded like he was going to miss multiple weeks, and now he's missing no games. But yeah, I do think DK Metcalf has a little bit higher of a ceiling than Deontay Johnson. We know Deontay Johnson's floor, though, man. Deontay Johnson is one of the safest floors in full PPR leagues. He's almost always going over 10 points, almost always, all the way back to like 2.5, 3 years ago. So if you're looking to lock in the points, you go Deontay Johnson. If you're trying to shoot for the ceiling, though, you go DK Metcalf. I think that's more or less the decision there. Good morning, Sam. Pitts or Gesicki. Also, Josh Reynolds or pick up Michael Gallup, Curtis Samuel, Wandale. Yeah, I would pick up Wandale. I would drop Josh Reynolds. I would pick up Wandale. I am playing Pitts over Gesicki. He is on that line for me. But in most spots, I am benching Kyle Pitts. Start DK over Mooney. I would start DK over Mooney. Start Goddard or Higbee. Broski. I'm going Goddard over Higbee. Broski. And I would also come to the YouTube live if I haven't got to your comment yet. TikTok live I can't show as much info on the TikTok live. On the YouTube live, you can see my top 10 rankings every position. And if you came to the TikTok live, you'd see I have Dallas Goedert as my number 3 tight end this week. The only tight ends I'm playing over Dallas Goedert, Mark Andrews, George Kittle, and why bench London? Because last week, I mean, literally just go look at the game logs last week and tell me how you could possibly start Drake London or Kyle Pitts with any sort of confidence this week. Last week, Mariota throws 13 times. I mean, just an egregiously low number of passing attempts. The least passing attempts Mariota has had this entire season in a game where the Falcons were trailing by multiple scores early and often in that game. I mean, they were losing the whole time, and they still just wanted to run the ball. It's all they can do. They don't trust Mariota to throw the ball, even in obvious passing situations. It's almost felt like even more so in obvious passing situations, they are terrified of Marcus Mariota throwing the ball. That's horrible news for Drake London, horrible news for Kyle Pitts, and neither can be trusted, and neither have any sort of a floor. I mean, their floor is 0 points in that offense. Hey, Sam, pick 3, Dalvin Cook, Walker, Pollard, Foreman, full point PPR. Yeah, so today is Tony Pollard Day. Happy Tony Pollard Day, everyone. I know it's more like Halloween weekend, but really it's Tony Pollard weekend this weekend. You got to be starting Tony Pollard. 100% of situations, you're starting Tony Pollard. 100%. I mean, there's not a question that anyone's going to ask where I'm going to say you should bench Tony Pollard. I literally have him ranked as my number 1 running back this week. So start Tony Pollard and feel very good about that. And then I would probably start Dalvin and Walker ahead of Eno and Foreman, especially in the full PPR. I think Dalvin and Walker have a slightly better chance at some catches today. A lot of injuries to be aware of today. Zeke is out. Ryan Tannehill is out. Deebo Samuel is out. Matt Ryan is out. Michael Thomas is out. Jarvis Landry is out. Breece Hall, Corey Davis are out. James Conner's out. Alan Lazard is out. Chuba Hubbard's out. Jahan Dotson, Kenny Golladay, again, is out. And Nico Collins is out as well. We also have a chance that Darren Waller will be out. He's going to test it out pregame. There's also a chance Tyler Lockett will be out. He's going to test it out pregame. It does sound like DK Metcalf, though, is in. Those are all the injuries to be aware of today. Mac Jones for Mariota. God, I don't trust either of them very much this week. Nice. A classic negative 2-yard play turning into a 15-yard play with a taunting penalty. And it looks like the Jaguars are marching a little bit here. 2nd and 2 on the 20 is what I'm seeing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Start Olave or Swift. Yeah, I would probably go Olave over Swift. Swift's first game back, it does add a little bit of risk there. Eno or B-Rob, that one's definitely close. I would probably lean towards B-Rob, but Eno, we still don't know if Darrell Williams is playing. If Darrell Williams isn't playing, then I would prefer Eno over B-Rob. By the way, we're live on TikTok. Watching live on TikTok. I'm telling you, you got to hear me out here. Take 2 seconds. Go to the TikTok bio. Tap on the YouTube live, and then watch on the YouTube live. It is a better experience than the TikTok live. I can just show more info. You can see my top 10 rankings, every position. You can see my DraftKings lineup, my picks against the spread, all on the YouTube live. And I'm telling you, I'm seeing some of these comments like start Amon-Ra or CD. Like if you just come to the YouTube live, you can see my wide receiver rankings just scrolling across the screen. So even if I don't necessarily see your question, because there are a lot of questions in the comments, you'll get your question answered in the YouTube live. And yeah, I would probably start Amon-Ra over CeeDee Lamb. I have Amon-Ra ranked as my number 8 wide receiver and CeeDee Lamb ranked as my number 9 wide receiver. So it's super, super close, but definitely both good options. Pickens or Wan'Dale Robinson. Yeah, I would lean towards Wan'Dale over Pickens, but I would argue that Wan'Dale, I feel like his I think his target volume will probably be higher than Pickens. Pickens' volume, though, he might be like Pickens might see fewer targets. He's probably seeing more air yards, though, than Wan'Dale. So I'd say higher ceiling for Pickens, higher floor for Wan'Dale Robinson. Start DK or Mooney. PPR, yeah, I'm playing DK over Mooney. Even a not 100% DK, I'm playing over Darnell Mooney. Paris Campbell, Curtis Samuel, Van Jefferson, half PPR, pick 1. Yeah, this one I'd probably go with Curtis Samuel over Paris Campbell, over Van Jefferson. Again, I'm not buying into the Paris Campbell hype. I'm not buying into it. And it feels weird to say that there is Paris Campbell hype, because I love Paris Campbell. I have him on a ton of best ball teams. I thought he could be this year's Rashad Penny. I talked a lot about that before the season, but he wasn't. He had seen fewer than 5 targets in every single game in the first 5 weeks of the season. Now he's back-to-back games with at least 11 targets. I think he's going to be closer to the 5-target range than the 11-target range. That's Paris Campbell. Let's see if you change your mind. Oh, God. Here we go. Sometimes I do change my mind, by the way. Has to start two. One has to be receiver. All right. We got Pittman here, Lockett, Mondre, Michael Carter. Yeah, so half PPR. I don't remember at all what I said about this one. So we'll see if I did change my mind. I do have Mondre pretty well ahead of Michael Carter in my ranking, so I would play Mondre over Michael Carter. Pittman versus Lockett is super close. I think I would lean towards Pittman, though, over Tyler Lockett, even with Sam Ehlinger starting. We don't know Tyler Lockett's going to play. That's the thing. So there's risk in saying Tyler Lockett here because he literally might not play. He's got to test it out still. So, yeah, I think I'd probably go Pittman and Mondre. Kenneth Walker or DeAndre Swift. I'm leaning Kenneth Walker just slightly over Swift. I do think Swift carries just a tiny bit of additional risk in his first game back. I don't have Swift in my top 10 rankings this week, but he absolutely has top 10 upside. Swift has a really, I feel like, of all the running backs this week that are that's it questions, I feel like Swift has probably the widest range of outcomes of all of them. I could easily see him being the number one running back this week. Like he has that in his range of outcomes. I think back in week 1, if you recall, he had, I think it was 18 touches in that game, and he had 175 yards and a touchdown in that game behind a really good Lions offensive line. They have dealt with some injuries since then. But yeah, I do like Swift still. I just think Kenneth, his floor and ceiling is better. His floor is better. His ceiling is similar, I'd say, to Swift. Jamal Williams, Van Jefferson, Jacoby Myers. Wade, go with Jacoby. I don't think there's a bigger sleeper wide receiver this season, it feels like, than Jacoby Myers. Nobody's giving him any credit where credit is deserved. I think you have to start Jacoby Myers. I have Jacoby Myers ranked in top 25 wide receiver range this week. He's top 20 in fantasy points per game. He ranks number 17 at the wide receiver position in fantasy points per game. He's averaging almost 15 fantasy points per game. I mean, that's pretty good. He's gone over 10 points every single week this season too. Strong floor. Even last week, he only had 2 targets. He had a touchdown, 34 yards in that embarrassment of a game between and Mac Jones last week. Hopefully the Pats get right this week against the Jets, but I honestly am not so sure. I'm taking the Jets against the spread against the Pats in that one. Renfro, Mooney, or Rondale. Oh, God, I don't trust Rondale Moore a ton in this game. Last week, Rondale, I think he only had 1 catch last week. It was like an early catch. It was an early, deep catch. And it was like, wow, Rondale might get going even though Hopkins is returning. And yeah, he had 2 targets, 1 catch, 31 yards. Last week in Hopkins' first game, it's tough to trust Rondale after that one. Darnell Mooney, meanwhile, he's in an interesting spot this week against the Cowboys. Definitely feel like the Cowboys will lead in that game. The Bears are still pretty big underdogs in that game. I actually am taking the Bears against the spread in that one. I think they're giving a little bit too much credit to the Cowboys in that spread. But yeah, Darnell Mooney is coming to life just a tiny bit. He's got over 50 yards now in 4 straight games. He's gotten over 50 yards in 4 straight games. Let me just reread you the Rondale Moore prop line last week too. 1 catch, 31 yards. Yeah, I think I would go Mooney. Renfro, first game back. I am excited for him, but he's done nothing this entire season. So yeah, I think I'd probably go Mooney. A PPR, Amon-Ra or Boyd. Yeah, you got to go Amon-Ra. I like Boyd. Why bench Paris Campbell? I'm out on the Paris Campbell hype. I get it. I get the hype for Paris Campbell. He's had back-to-back best games of his career. Literally back-to-back. Were the best 2 games of Paris Campbell's entire NFL career. He's been in the league for 4 years. This is not like he's second season. It might feel like it's his second season because he's done nothing up to this point because he's been mostly hurt. But yeah, he's had back-to-back best games of his career. Back-to-back games over 11 targets, over 10 targets, back-to-back games over 55 yards, back-to-back games with a touchdown. But Sam Ehlinger is starting this week. Sam Ehlinger, a near 7th round draft pick last year, has not played in the NFL. He was just slightly above average in college. He can run the ball. That's kind of interesting for fantasy, but he is not going to be throwing effectively, I don't think, in the NFL. Washington Commanders have been pretty bad against receivers this season, but yeah, I'm not trusting Paris Campbell. I could see them scheming him some touches still, especially with Ehlinger. I like the talent of Paris Campbell. I'm not convinced that workload's going to stay like it has been. Foreman or Benjamin? Yeah, I with Darrell Williams in, it definitely is Foreman, in my opinion. With Darrell Williams out, I think it gets like a much tougher decision here between Foreman and Eno. I think I'd go Foreman, though, over Eno Benjamin. Foreman had 15 carries last week. Chuba Hubbard's out. I just think it's a really clear path to touches for Foreman against a bad Falcons run defense. I'm okay going Foreman over Eno Benjamin. Good morning, Sam. Woke up at 6 to start Kirk and bench Cooks. W or L? Yeah, I'm okay, Andrew. starting Kirk over Cooks. I probably would have told you to do that. Doesn't seem like it's off to a great start for Christian Kirk. Looks like they are very close. Oh, intercepted. Yikes. Trevor Lawrence, pass short right, intended for Zay Jones, intercepted. I think that was literally on the goal line. I didn't see the play, but that's pretty rough for Trevor Lawrence there. But yeah, I do think, Sam, you look like you could use some sleep. I could use some sleep, man. I could use some sleep. It's actually been a very long week for Sam. I'm glad that that's showing. Always a good compliment to get. You look like you could use some sleep. I will sleep though, Jack, when I am dead. Please, Sam, pick 3. Swift, Damian, Kenneth, Mondre. Yeah, I would probably go with you want to start all these guys. I'd probably bench, though, either Mondre or Swift. I think you got to play Dameon Pierce. You got to play Kenneth Walker. I feel compelled to play Mondre over Swift in Swift's first game back. I'm okay benching Swift. Swift does have some risk. Again, I think his range of outcomes is really large, though. Should I drop P. Ryan? I have Mixon or Hubbard for Irv. Yeah, if you need a tight end, then yes. I would drop P. Ryan probably before Hubbard. I don't think P. Ryan is good. I don't think P. Ryan will be like a must-start guy, even if Mixon is down. Speaking of sleep, though, let's just drink some more coffee, huh? Boyd, Davis, Ayuk. I would probably, I'm assuming that's Gabe Davis. I would probably play Boyd over Gabe Davis this week. JT or Kenneth Walker. I'm going Kenneth over JT. Let me pull up my running back rankings here. Let me actually see. I actually have JT one spot ahead of Kenneth, so I take that back, Julian. I have JT one spot ahead of Kenneth, and here's why, actually. Because of Sam Ehlinger starting, I the second I saw that news that Sam Ehlinger, again, no one should have confidence in Sam Ehlinger. Sam Ehlinger was a 7th round pick. It feels like all of a sudden people are having too much confidence in these guys that were not expected to ever be good in the NFL. Bailey Zappi. Sam Ehlinger enters the category. Now, he was a 7th round pick last year, end of the 6th round. I'm saying 7th round because he was like the 33rd pick in the 6th round. So that feels more like the 7th round to me. But yeah, Sam Ehlinger can't throw. I think that probably means a lot of volume for Jonathan Taylor, like 30 plus touches maybe for JT. And the potential of 30 plus JT touches means you got to start JT. Yes, that's why I have him over Kenneth Walker this week. Demont or Najee. Yeah, I do like Demont, I think, a little bit more than Najee Harris this week and just in general. Pick 2, Wan'Dale, David Montgomery, Curtis Samuel. Yeah, I'd go with the first 2 guys, Wan'Dale and David Montgomery over Curtis Samuel. Elijah Moore, Josh Reynolds, or Paris Campbell. I would rank these guys probably as Elijah Moore, then Paris Campbell, then Josh Reynolds. I do think Elijah Moore is interesting this week, though, against the Pats. No Corey Davis. Elijah Moore requests a trade, sits out last week. Now Corey Davis is out. Won't be shocked if they try to get him a little bit more involved in this game. Is Noah Fant a great value play in DFS? Yes, he is. The only 2 tight ends I'm playing this week on DFS are Noah Fant, Irv Smith. Those are the only 2 tight ends I'm rocking with. I'm paying down at tight end this week. I generally do like paying down at tight end, but yeah, I do like Noah Fant. He is going to be a pretty good value. I think he's really taken over the top tight end role. Finally, it was weird how long it took him to take over the top tight end role. But yeah, he played a season high 73% of the snaps last week, and now he gets a pretty good matchup this week against the Giants. So yeah, I do like Noah Fant a decent amount this week. Deontay Myers or Henderson. I would probably rank these guys as Myers, then Deontay, then Henderson. Tyler Boyd or Deontay Foreman. If this is a PPR league, you can consider Boyd, but Foreman's much safer. He's probably going to see 20-plus touches against a bad Falcons run defense. Dalton Schultz news. Yeah, I don't think there is Dalton Schultz news other than that he's playing. Dalton Schultz is playing today. I think he's technically questionable, but he's playing. He practiced as much as we would have hoped this week. So, yeah, I do think Dalton Schultz playing. That means he is definitely startable. I have him in my tight end rankings, which you can see in the YouTube live. Link to that is in the TikTok bio if you're watching live on TikTok. I do have Dalton Schultz in my top 10 tight ends this week. He's number 7. The only tight ends I'm playing over Dalton Schultz are Mark Andrews, George Kittle, Dallas Goedert, Tyler Higbee, Zach Ertz, and TJ Hawkinson. That's it. End of list. Those are the guys that I'm starting over Dalton Schultz. Mooney or Paris Campbell. I'd start Mooney. Would you start Willis in Dynasty? Yes, start Willis. I have him as my number 7 QB this week because of the rushing. I think Malik Willis could flirt with 100 rushing yards today. His over-under is 47.5 rushing yards. That's the free player prop on the stream today, by the way. I think that these are unique opportunities in the player prop world where a guy's playing for the first time in the NFL, and the prop line makers, they just don't really know what to do here with the player prop lines. They've never seen Malik Willis play other than the preseason. And by the way, in the preseason, he would have smashed this rushing line. He had 175 rushing yards in his 2 total games in the preseason. He played about 2 total games in the preseason, 175 rushing yards in those games. This dude is a really dynamic runner. He is different than Lamar Jackson. I don't want to compare him to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's the best rushing QB of all time. So I think that would be doing you guys a disservice. But Malik Willis is closer to the tier of Lamar Jackson than probably any other quarterback right now in the NFL in terms of just pure rushing. So I do really like Malik Willis today in fantasy because of that. I don't trust him as the thrower. I think he makes bad decisions. I don't think he's very accurate. But I also think the Titans know that. And I don't think they're going to ask him to throw very much. They're playing the dead last run defense in the NFL. This is the perfect, ideal spot for Malik Willis to start his career. That's also why I'm playing Malik Willis in my DraftKings lineup this week. Yo, Wandale or Gallup? I do like Wandale more than Gallup. Yo, Sam. Yo, what is going on? Brandon, how we doing, man? Kenneth Walker or Dalvin Cook? I'm leaning towards Kenneth over Dalvin Cook. I like both of them, though. Thoughts on Marquise Goodwin? Yeah, he's not startable if DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett play. If Tyler Lockett doesn't play, then he does have some sleeper appeal, but I wouldn't be pretending like we are for sure on Marquise Goodwin. He could have 0 catches any given week. I'm pretty down bad with Eckler on bye. Hunt or B-Rob, Colts or Niners. I would definitely play B-Rob over Hunt. I actually am a little bit nervous about Hunt this week with all the trade rumors spiraling around. This feels like maybe a sudden 0 touch type game for Kareem Hunt. Like, what if they're really close to a trade and the trade deadline's in 2 days? So they don't want Hunt to get hurt. That could cost them a trade. So yeah, I'm definitely playing B-Rob over Hunt, even without the trade speculation. Then Colts or Niners defense. Go Niners defense. Niners defense in a very good spot this week. Lamar and Barkley for Burrow and Eckler. Full point PPR. Who wins this trade? It's a fair trade. I personally, I would probably prefer the Eckler side. I mean, Burrow's been really cooking. Lamar has a better playoff schedule, though, than every other quarterback. So I do like him in the playoffs. But Eckler is leading the NFL in receiving yards at the wide receiver position. He's set to potentially break some receiving records out of the backfield this season. So, yeah, I think I would give Eckler maybe a slight nod over Saquon. So Eckler leads all running backs in receiving yards, receptions, and total touchdowns this season. Michael Carter or Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mozart is what we typed in here. I would probably go Michael Carter over Mostert, Lanson. I do like Michael Carter a decent amount this week. Adam, Craig, good to see you back in the live, man. Thank you for tuning in. Pick 3, Dalvin Cook, Mixon, Pollard, Walker. Yeah, so happy Tony Pollard week. First of all, everyone, thank you for joining the live. It is Tony Pollard week. I do have Tony Pollard ranked as my number 1 running back this week, so you got to start Tony Pollard. And then after that, with Mixon, Walker, Dalvin, I would probably bench Mixon. I think the other 2 guys I do have in my top 10 rankings. I think Dalvin maybe didn't make it in to the top 10. So Dalvin, it's between Dalvin and Mixon. Both are I guess close, but I would play Dalvin over Mixon personally. I'm okay benching Mixon in this one. Mixon has been pretty inefficient this season. Jacoby Myers or Lockett. I'm going Myers, Dylan, over Tyler Lockett. I hope this one isn't in the league that we're in together, but Tyler Lockett might not play. He might not play. And so there's already risk in starting Tyler Lockett, but he also just isn't at 100%. So there's risk, even if he plays, that he ends up not fully playing. Should I start Lockett? I don't think Lockett's a must start right now. With what we know about Tyler Lockett right now is he's testing out pregame. That's basically all we know. Jamar hurt for me, and now Pickens now at flex. Could put Pat Frymuth or Gerald Everett at flex, and we're not starting 2 tight ends. Also have Slayton and James Robinson. What do you think? Yeah, so if you have Pickens, now at flex. Yeah, I'm okay. Keep Pickens in there over Lockett. If there's some news that comes out before the games start that Tyler Lockett is fine and he's playing, then definitely play Lockett over. Because I do think that Tyler Lockett George Pickens is a pretty solid option. He's playing the Bills. I mean, they're probably, so he's not playing the Bills. He's playing that was the week before. Sorry about that. The Steelers, let me pull this up, are playing the Eagles. A similar situation. No wonder I was thinking the Bills, where the Steelers are going to get, destroyed in this game. This is one of the few games where I'm taking the favorite despite the big spread against the spread. The Eagles are the best team right now in the NFL. They're undefeated. Really, the Bills are probably the only team I would say are pretty clearly better than the Eagles. The Steelers defense is still so decimated that they're going to be down big in this game. That's probably going to mean some opportunities for George Pickens. So yeah, I don't hate George Pickens at all this week, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Kenneth Walker or Dameon Pierce. I personally think I would lean towards Kenneth Walker over Dameon Pierce just slightly. I mean, just slightly. I have them both in my top 10 though, back to back in my top 10. Hopkins or Adams. Yeah, you can't bench Devontae Adams. We're not allowed to bench Devontae Adams. You really shouldn't be benching DeAndre Hopkins either though. Wan'Dale or DK. I am okay going with Wan'Dale over DK. Why bench Kyle? Because he had 2 catches last week in a game where the Falcons trailed by multiple scores basically the entire time. I mean, just dead worst scenario for the Falcons last week and how they used their how little they threw the ball in a game where they really need to throw the ball much more. Okay. The Jaguars are up now 10-0. Travis Etienne has 85 rushing yards in the first half. 85 rushing yards for Travis Etienne. He also has 2 catches for 12 yards. He's at 97 yards for Travis Etienne in the first half of the game. Receiving wise, Russell Wilson has completed 2 passes in the first half for 19 total yards. I mean, absolutely brutal. I do have a KJ Hamler prop riding in this game, but he's only going to need 1 catch to hit that. Should I trade DJ Moore for Amon-Ra standard? Yes, I would do that trade straight up instantly. I would definitely do that trade. Michael Carter or Benjamin at flex. Yeah, I like Michael Carter this week. I do. I think this is a good week for Michael Carter. I am okay going Carter. Yo, Sam. Drake London, Tyler Algier, Josh Reynolds, or Paris Campbell. I think I would go Drake London. It's Drake London or Paris Campbell. I think between those 2 guys that both are must benches for me. So you know how I feel about them sort of already. But yeah, I think I'd go Drake London over them still. How does Zeke's future look? It's not looking good right now, man. It's not looking good. I mean, he's for the 2nd straight year now dealing with an injury. He played through his injury last season. This season, he's not going to be able to play through this one, at least this week. But they have a bye. So he's probably going to be back after the bye. And we also just know when Zeke is in there, they're going to keep giving him the ball. So I feel like his outlook is somewhat similar, but it's not as good. It's not looking great right now for Zeke. All right, Sam, another Sunday. All right, Sam, another Sunday, man. Another Sunday to enjoy. We already got football on our TV screens right now. It's already been a great Sunday seeing Russ continue to struggle. We did take the Jaguars against the spread in this game. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday as well. Need 2 wide receivers today. Gabe Davis, Ayuk, DJ Moore. Yeah, I'd bench. You can't bench DJ Moore. In this one, I want to tell you to bench Gabe Davis for Ayuk with Deebo Samuel out too. Just keep in mind with Gabe Davis that we've seen a lot more of his ceiling than his floor, and his floor is going to be low. Gabe Davis, only one game where he has more than 3 catches. And in that one game, he had 4 catches. He doesn't have a game with 5 catches this season. I mean, crazy efficiency for Gabe Davis this season. He's scored a touchdown on 28% of his catches. 1 out of every 4 catches for Gabe Davis is a TD. I mean, that is insanely unsustainable. It is the highest rate in the NFL with any sort of target threshold. I think Gabe Davis is the one to bench in this one. Obviously, he does have a good ceiling, though, so it's never great benching him. Amon-Ra or CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, so let me pull up my wide receiver rankings. Again, this one's definitely really close. I do have Amon-Ra, though, 1 spot ahead of CeeDee Lamb. Why is Paris Campbell must bench? Because he has fewer than 5 targets in all of his first 5 games. And now they have a near 7th round quarterback playing his first game ever. So, yeah, I just do not trust the entire passing offense for the Colts today. I also don't trust the entire for the Titans today. Eno Benjamin or Foreman. Yeah, I'd play Foreman over Eno. I do like Foreman against the Falcons. It's a good spot for Foreman for sure against the Falcons. Foreman also playing without Chuba Hubbard makes him a much safer play, I think, this week. 10-0 Jaguars up against the Broncos. Russell Wilson doing absolutely nothing. Good thing though. Russell Wilson did those high knees on the plane that definitely moved the needle for Russ. Pittman or DJ Moore? I'd play DJ Moore over Pittman this week. That is right in line with what I was just saying, Dan. I'm nervous for the whole Colts passing offense today. I bet Pittman projects better because it's Michael Pittman and he's been much better than DJ Moore this season. But this week with Sam Ehlinger starting, I do feel better about DJ Moore this week than I do Michael Pittman. All right. Waller, Hurts, or Pitts? Yeah, so we don't know if Waller's playing yet. Waller's going to test it out pregame. If Waller tests it out pregame and plays, I would play Waller. I don't want to play Pitts, man. I don't. Should I start? Who should I start at flex since Debo is out? Gabe Davis, Mostert, Deontay Johnson, or Brandon Cooks? Yeah, this one I'd probably go Gabe Davis or Deontay Johnson. I do like them both more than Brandon Cooks. Deontay Johnson's the safe floor play, and Gabe Davis is the not safe ceiling play. Happy Sunday. Who do you think of in this Cardinals-Vikings game today? Yeah, so let me pull up my picks against the spread one more time. I do have some thoughts on that Vikings-Cardinals game. I am taking the Vikings in that game, minus 3.5. They're 3.5-point favorites. I still feel like the Cardinals are just a little bit overrated. They scored 2 pick sixes in their last game. And by the way, that was, all-time implosion. It feels like a long time ago now. That was the previous week's Thursday night game. That was the Cardinals versus the Saints, if you guys recall, in that game, 2 pick sixes to wrap up the first half. And the Cardinals still almost end up losing that game. I think the Cardinals are really bad. I think they're one of the worst teams in the NFL, honestly. The Vikings coming off a bye, too. This is a smash spot, I think, for the Vikings. The Vikings have also been really aggressive throwing the ball, more so recently. Their pass rate over expectation is near the top 5 in the league. I think that's great news for Justin Jefferson. I think it's great news for Irv Smith today, too. I do like the Vikings a decent amount in that game. It's actually one of my favorite games, I think, against the spread. Again, Vikings are minus 3.5. Do I play DK Metcalf over Cooks if he plays? Yeah, I would do that if he plays. Jamar Chase out. So who do I play? DJ Moore, Tyler Boyd, or Devontae Smith at wide receiver 2, full PPR? Yeah, DJ Moore and Devontae Smith, solid wide receiver 2 options this week. Devontae Smith gets a really good matchup this week against the Steelers, though I will say with the Eagles, it's tough, right? It's tough with a guy like Devontae Smith because the Eagles are going to destroy the Steelers in this game. And if they do get an early lead like they should, they might not throw the ball all that much. So that's the concern with Devontae Smith. DJ Moore gets a good spot against the Falcons. He's definitely in play here as well. I don't think I'd play Tyler Boyd over DJ Moore or over Devontae Smith. Pick one, full PPR. DK, Michael Carter, Brandon Cooks. I do like Michael Carter this week again. I know they just traded for James Robinson. I don't envision James Robinson being very involved in this first game. And even if he was up to full speed, which he's definitely not, Michael Carter is going to see the bulk of the touches in this backfield. He's going to see minimum 60%, I think, of this backfield. And this is a game that's projected to be pretty close. The Jets are 3-point underdogs, 2-point underdogs in this game. I am taking the Jets against the spread. Sorry, they're 3-point underdogs. 3-point underdogs against a team that was just blown out by the Bears in complete disarray. And the Jets are at home. 3-point underdogs. I was pretty surprised to see that the Jets were 3-point underdogs in this game. I am taking the Jets in this one. And yeah, I do like Michael Carter a decent amount. Sam, I'm in a predicament. I currently have Kyle Pitts starting. Schultz and Hurst are both on waivers. Should I drop Pitts and pick up one of them? Or should I drop up Tony? Should I drop Tony or Deontay and have 2 tight ends? Yeah, so if we, in this situation, I do feel like you should probably play Kyle Pitts or drop Kyle Pitts and pick up Dalton Schultz. Those are the 2 options, I think. Either play Kyle Pitts or drop Kyle Pitts, pick up Dalton Schultz. It's not worth, if we're so down on Kyle Pitts that we can't even start him over guys that are on the waiver wire, it's not worth rostering 2 tight ends if we're never going to play Kyle Pitts. The only hope, really, to me, the only hope for Kyle Pitts turning the entire season around is Desmond Ridder coming in, and suddenly the Falcons throw the ball much more. And even that might not happen. Even if Desmond Ridder comes in, they might not throw the ball more. Maybe they don't trust Desmond Ridder, who's good at running, to not throw, just like they don't trust Marcus Mariota to throw. So yeah, I'm okay dropping Pitts for Schultz. I am okay dropping Pitts for Schultz. And Schultz is a better start this week than Kyle Pitts. So the more I talk about it, yeah, just drop Pitts, add Schultz. Let someone else deal with the headache of Pitts. It's tough to eat the L, but that's just the reality we're in with Kyle Pitts right now. Sam, my wide receiver 1 is injured with Jamar Chase out, and I started Godwin as my wide receiver 1. So who should you start this week, Pittman or Jacoby Myers? Yeah, you kind of have to play Pittman over Jacoby Myers. Again, I don't trust the Colts passing attack at all, but it's Pittman versus Myers. It's just not very close in terms of what they've done at times this season. Jacoby Myers has been good. Don't get me wrong. He's over 10 points every single week in PPR leagues. He's number 17 in fantasy points per game. He's averaging 14 points per game this season. But Michael Pittman, I still feel like you kind of have to start him over a guy like Jacoby Myers. We've seen Michael Pittman have a game with 16 targets, 13 targets. This is not something that Jacoby Myers is capable of. So yeah, I'm okay going with Pittman. Devontae Smith or Pittman, yeah, this one is definitely close as well. Pittman or DJ Moore. I would go DJ Moore, I think, over Pittman. Let's pull up. Let's see where we have Pittman here in the wide receiver rankings. A lot of Pittman questions, rightfully so. Again, I don't trust Sam Ellinger at all. I would have DJ Moore one spot ahead of Michael Pittman. I would be playing though DK Metcalf over Tyler Boyd, over Brandon Cooks, over Adam Thielen, over Courtland Sutton, who's obviously already playing, over Amari Cooper, over Tyler Lockett. I would play him over Devontae Smith as well. So yeah, I would go with Michael Pittman over Devontae Smith. Moving forward after this week, how do you think James Robinson, after this week, do you think James Robinson will be RB1? No, I don't. I don't think he will. I don't think he will be RB1. I think he could, best case, be at a 50-50 timeshare with Michael Carter. I do think they like Michael Carter, who's already pretty involved with Breece being there. Does sound like Alvin Kamara has a real chance to be traded up until this recent report that I'm reading right in front of me that he's almost definitely not going to be traded. So there's some speculation, some smoke about Alvin Kamara being traded. That looks like it is not coming to fruition. How you get your thing on the screen, Colin? You did it. You got your thing on the screen. All right. Van Jefferson, Paris Campbell, or Curtis Samuel. I'd probably go Curtis Samuel over Paris Campbell and over Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson's definitely not like a safe start this week, though. He is supposedly going to be playing a decent amount. Do you like Eno Benjamin this week? Yeah, I don't hate Eno. I'm still waiting on the Darrell Williams news, which I think is actually pretty big, because if Darrell Williams doesn't play, I'm even more confident in Eno Benjamin. Right now, I have Eno ranked as running back 21. So he's outside my top 20. So like, I don't love him. He's like in the Michael Carter range a little bit. Moving forward, yeah, I'm not like all in on James Robinson. Foreman or Eno, I do like Foreman more than Eno. For example, Foreman or Najee, I would play Foreman over Najee. People Jones or Alec Pierce, I would be playing Peoples Jones over Alec Pierce. I am playing Olave over Ayuk, seeing that one in the TikTok live as well. Yeah, definitely playing Olave this week. You have to play Olave. You got to play Olave. I mean, there's no way around not playing Olave this week with Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry still out. Looks like the Broncos did maybe something on offense. Not really. Montreal Washington, a 1-yard catch. Is KJ Hamler even out there? You guys let me know in the comments. Is KJ Hamler? Have you guys seen KJ Hamler? Did he even show up to this game? All right, Waller or Freiermuth standard. We don't know if Waller's playing yet. If Waller is playing, then you're playing Waller. But Freiermuth is a good backup if Waller does not play. Eno, Sanders, Foreman, Singletary. Pick 3. Yeah, so you just got to bench 1 is another way to think about that. Yeah, I think I would probably bench Eno. I'd play Sanders, Foreman, and Singletary and bench Eno. Eno or Thielen. Yeah, that one I would probably go Eno over Thielen. I do really like the Vikings passing attack today, though, I will say. Tony Pollard or Sanders, you need to start Tony Pollard. You need to start Tony Pollard. It is Tony Pollard week. We're all starting Tony Pollard. I have Tony Pollard as my number 1 running back this week. There's not a single player that you're going to ask, and I'm going to tell you not to start Tony Pollard. Pick 2, Pittman, Myers, Wilson, B-Rob, Wandale, PPR. Which Wilson is this? Is this Jeff Wilson? Which Wilson? Garrett Wilson? But yeah, I'd probably play B-Rob. I think I'd go B-Rob and Pittman. I think I'd go B-Rob and Pittman over Myers, over Garrett Wilson, and over Wandale Robinson as well. Thoughts on Raheem Mostert? Yeah, so Raheem Mostert's continued to see, workhorse usage. I feel like all of us are sort of just waiting for the Mostert injury, and it might not come. We're not as good at predicting injuries as we think we are. Tell that to everyone that faded Christian McCaffrey at the beginning of drafts this season. But I do think Mostert is seeing workhorse usage, and we should expect that to continue. He had 70% snap share last week, 16 carries. He ran 18 routes, 5 targets. 20 touches, 109 yards, a TD. He now has 2 games in his last 3 over 100 yards with a touchdown, and he's seeing really good usage. I do think the Dolphins play pretty well today too. So yeah, Mostert is a solid start. Malik Willis, Dak Prescott, or Marcus Mariota. Let me pull up my QB rankings on the YouTube live again. If you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live. I'm telling you. Just hear me out for 2 seconds. I know it's annoying. You're like, I'm already watching you. I'm already watching your live stream. Why are you asking me to go somewhere else to watch the same stream? But it's not the same stream. You get my top 10 rankings, every position at the bottom of the screen. You get my DraftKings lineup, my picks against the spread, like just a lot more info that helps me help you more. And it's right in the TikTok bio. It also, like, you're right next to the YouTube live. It's 2 clicks away. And I promise a lot of your questions I'm seeing in the comments, they will be answered just by the YouTube Live. And I have my quarterback rankings on the YouTube Live right now, and it's going to answer a lot of these Malik Willis questions that I'm seeing in the TikTok Live. I'm starting Malik Willis over Dak Prescott, over Marcus Mariota. I'm starting him over Geno Smith. I'm starting him over Daniel Jones. I'm starting him over Derek Carr. Malik Willis is a good runner. He's not a good thrower. He's not a good passer. He is not going to pass for very many yards today. He's probably going to throw an interception or two. That's the risk with Malik Willis. But the upside with Malik Willis and the floor with Malik Willis is the rushing. And rushing is huge in fantasy because you get 1 point for every 10 rushing yards, but you only get 1 point for every 25 passing yards. Malik Willis has a chance to go near or over 100 rushing yards. And that's like really, really rare for a player in their first. We got a Russ to Judy touchdown. Team Judy over Sutton is starting to gain some steam. Love to see that in the comments here. A huge touchdown pass to Jerry Judy. That's a big one. 7-10 now. Russ hits Judy. Judy now has 45 yards and a TD in this game. But yeah, again, Malik Willis, his rushing is very unique. He is closer. He's closer. I'm not saying he's in, but he is closer to the Cam Newton, Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson tier of rushing QBs. He's closer to those guys than he is to like just a good quarterback that can run. Like he's a runner that can maybe throw the ball a few times. So that's more like what Malik Willis is. He's going to run a lot today against the Texans. The Texans have the dead last run defense in the NFL. That's the other reason I'm pretty bullish on Malik today, though. Again, I don't trust his decision-making. I don't trust his throwing ability. So there's obviously risk there with Malik in his first NFL start. But he had 175 rushing yards in about like a game and a half, 2 games in the preseason. Irv Smith or Hurst? Yeah, I do like Irv Smith more than Hurst this week. I like Irv Smith a lot. I'll pull up my tight end rankings on the YouTube Live. Mixon or St. Brown at flex. I personally would be playing St. Brown over Mixon in your flex. Harris or Carter? Yes, Steven. Got to go Carter over Harris. Jones or Foreman? Which Jones is this? I mean, there are a lot of Joneses, especially if we're talking first, last names here. Julio Jones already played. Aaron Jones. If this is Aaron Jones, I would go Aaron Jones. I'm assuming it's Aaron Jones. DJ Moore or Eno at flex. I would go DJ Moore over Eno. I'd play Olave and Amon-Ra over DJ Moore, though. I'd play Amon-Ra, then Olave, then DJ Moore. So for this one, I'd play Amon-Ra over Olave. I want to start Olave, though. I love Olave. Who do I start in the TikTok Live? Seeing this one, Stevenson or Wandale? Yeah, you got to go Stevenson over Wandale. As much as Wandale is intriguing this week, I think Stevenson's much, much safer. DJ Moore or flex. I would play DJ Moore over flex, Adrian. I think you typed that maybe wrong. Mondre Stevenson or Tyler Boyd, flex, PPR. Yeah, so PPR definitely gives some bump to Tyler Boyd over Mondre, but I still think Mondre over DK, over Tony. Sorry, I think Mondre over Tyler Boyd is still the move. DK or D Henderson. I have very little confidence in Darrell Henderson this week. I'm just waiting. Like we're all just waiting. I feel like for the week where it's like, oh, Darrell Henderson, yeah, he's not the lead back anymore. Like it's just going to happen. It might not be this week. Maybe we need Kyron Williams to come back. I mean, there's been so many murmurs though of Darrell Henderson just not maintaining this lead back role that it's only a matter of time that I don't have faith in Darrell Henderson. Foreman or Carter? I like Foreman just a little bit more than Carter this week without Chuba Hubbard in the lineup. Brandon Ayuk or Michael Carter? I'd go Michael Carter there for the floor, probably over Ayuka. The bazooka, Olave or Walker? I like Walker a little bit more than Olave. I like CD still, I think a little bit more than Olave as well. I do like Malik Willis more than Geno Smith. I have him one spot ahead of Geno in my rankings. So I do think Malik Willis is playable this week. And again, there's risk there. Obviously, there's risk. You're starting a QB that's never started a game in the NFL and that we know is not good at throwing. So, like, obviously, there's risk there with Malik Willis, but he's very good at running. He averaged almost 90 rushing yards per game in college. That puts him in very elite territory. We saw him rush for 175 yards in the preseason. He is playable for sure. And the scoring and how the scoring works in fantasy very much it incentivizes playing running quarterbacks. You get 1 point for every 10 yards. You get more points for rushing touchdowns in a lot of leagues too than passing touchdowns. I mean, there's a lot of different things that lead to rushing being OP in fantasy football. All right, Wan'Dale Robinson, Curtis Samuel, or Paris Campbell, full PPR. I personally would be going Wan'Dale. I think it's between Wan'Dale and Curtis, though. Again, I don't trust Paris Campbell. I'm not buying into the Paris Campbell hype. I'm telling a lot of people to bench Paris Campbell this week. I think that is one of my decision points this week. Again, I don't trust Sam Ellinger. Sam Ellinger, I mean, similar story to Malik Willis, except he's a worse runner. Like he's maybe a slightly better passer than Malik, but he's a worse runner. And he's not enough of a better passer for me to have any faith in the Colts passing attack today. Amon-Ra, Kenneth Walker, Olave, or Swift at the flex. Yeah, you got to go Kenneth. I feel like Kenneth is just too safe to be not starting Kenneth in most situations. Schultz or Taysom. I actually have this, Brian, I have this exact same decision in one of my leagues. And the Taysom Hill decisions each week, I mean, they're tough. The tight end decisions are already tough. Taysom Hill is just an even tougher one because if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's probably not going to do much, just like most tight ends. But Dalton Schultz was pretty involved last week. I do like him more than Taysom Hill. I am starting Schultz over Taysom Hill. And I actually don't have Taysom Hill in my top 10 tight end rankings this week. There are 10 tight ends for the first time in a couple of weeks that I do like more than Taysom Hill. And none of them are Kyle Pitts either. So the first week, this week, without Kyle Pitts in the top 10, without Taysom Hill in the top 10 tight end rankings, I am playing Hawkinson over Taysom Hill. Here are the 10 tight ends I'm playing over Taysom Hill in fantasy this week. And again, if you come to the YouTube live, if you're watching live on TikTok, you can see my top 10 rankings, every position on the YouTube live. If you are watching live on YouTube too, hit the button. Takes you 2 seconds. Helps me out a ton. All right. You're playing Mark Andrews, George Kittle, Dallas Goedert, Tyler Higbee, Zach Ertz, TJ Hawkins, and Dalton Schultz, Darren Waller, Irv Smith, and Pat Freiermuth over Kyle Pitts and over Taysom Hill this week. All right. Here's the DraftKings lineup. Pull that up on the YouTube live as well. And I'll pull up my running back rankings one more time on the YouTube live. Should I start Goff or Dak? Yeah, I'd probably go Dak over Goff. If I'm 1-6, should I start Willis over Dak? Yeah, if you're 1-6, Cam, I mean, maybe that's the spark you need. I'm not gonna lie. I'm okay. Whether you're 1-6 or 6-1, though, I like Malik Willis more than Dak this week. Just period. In fantasy, I have him ranked ahead. I think that Dak is in a tough spot. The Bears have been a good defense against quarterbacks. The Bears have been the number 3 defense against quarterbacks this season, and the Texans are the last run defense in the NFL. They're the worst run defense in the league. So it's a great matchup for Malik. It's a horrible matchup for Dak. So, I mean, I do think Malik over Dak is fair. Olave or Walker or CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, again, it's just so tough to bench Walker. Like when you hand me the decision here of, and I don't know the scoring settings. That's the other thing why you really, if you have start sits decisions that you need to make, go check out the WalterPicks app. It's free to download. You can do as many start sit comparisons as you want for free. The link to that is in the YouTube description. It's in the TikTok bio. That will help you with your start sit decisions, maybe even more so than this live stream. But when personally, you ask me between an elite wide receiver, Olave, CeeDee Lamb, versus an elite running back, Kenneth Walker, I'm almost always going to side with the elite running back because the running back's touches and their volume is just more locked in than the receivers, right? Like they're being literally handed the ball. So I do like Kenneth Walker a lot. I don't think you can be benching Kenneth Walker. I have Kenneth Walker as my number 9 running back this week. And I love Olave and CeeDee Lamb, but yeah, I'm playing Kenneth Walker over both of them. London, Van Jefferson, Reynolds. Yeah, like this one, I'm okay going London. Like we're pretty down bad with London, just like we are with Pitts. But I am okay playing London in this one. Bench 2, Romeo Doubs, Brandon Ayuk the Bazooka, Deontay Johnson, Devontae Smith. You got to bench 2 of these guys. Yeah, if I'm benching 2, I'm benching Romeo Doubs, and I'm probably going to be benching Brandon Ayuk, I think, too. And I'd start Deontay Johnson and Devontae Smith. Algier, London, or Hayden Hurst. Oh, God, yeah. Algier, I feel like it's actually probably better than London. All right, like he's getting touches. London's not. They're not throwing the ball. So you're not starting Hayden Hurst over either of those guys. How's the weather? Yeah, Weatherman Sam. I was out a little earlier in this stream, but yeah, Weatherman Sam says there's really no weather to be concerned about. The Giants-Seahawks game has the worst weather. There's a little bit of rain that's going to be in that game. I think we have like 6 dome games this week, though. So not much weather to be concerned about. Actually, the game that's going on right now in Munich between the Broncos and the Jaguars, really like to show our best quality of football, I guess, out in Europe. We got the Broncos, 2-5 Broncos against the 2-5 Jaguars in this game. We do have a Jerry Jeudy, Evan Ingram. Both have scored in this game. I think the Jaguars are up 10-7 with about 1:30 left. And with the ball right now, they are near field goal range. But yeah, that game actually has the windiest weather of the day, and it's not windy at all if you're watching that game. So not much weather to be concerned about. All right, Myers, Swift, Amari, Lockett, full PPR. Lockett might not play. Lockett's testing out pregame, so I've been fading Lockett pretty hard in these start decisions on the off chance he might not even play. And even if Lockett plays, he's not 100%. Swift in his first game back, there's some risk there but I do really like the upside with Swift. I think I would probably go Swift and Amari over Jacoby Myers. Who should I start in PPR? Foreman, Carter, Eno. I like Foreman the most. Foreman is the guy that I'm most confident will see 15 plus touches, though I think all three could easily see 15 plus touches this week between Foreman, Michael Carter, and Eno Benjamin. But Foreman gets the Falcons, and Chuba Hubbard's out. There's really no competition for Foreman. Actually, I had to like look up the guy that was going to be starting behind Foreman. I had never heard of him before. All right, did I miss something or what? Because I thought Russell Wilson passed the ball to Judy. Did they count this as a run? Did they count that as a run? I'm seeing a passing touchdown. Seems like there's some debate though, and I did not see the touchdown. I'm following just with the game by game tracker right now in this game, so I can be more present for the live stream, and so I don't have to buy ESPN Plus. But I do think that there's some controversy right now between whether or not Jerry Jeudy's touchdown, pretty long touchdown in that game, was a run or a pass. Can anyone confirm in the comments of the live? Was that a run or a pass? Those of you that saw it. Daniel Jones or Derek Carr? Standard. Yeah, I'm playing Derek Carr, I think, over Danny Dimes this week, but I actually think they're really close here in the QB rankings. And yep, my QB rankings disagree. My QB rankings have Daniel Jones over Derek Carr. And the QB rankings I'm going to stick to here because I've actually put a lot of thought into these QB rankings. I am going to go Daniel Jones over Derek Carr, which was not what my gut answer was. And the reason that Daniel Jones needs to be in everyone's top 10 rankings right now for quarterbacks, he's really running the ball a lot. He's third, guys. He's the third most rushing yards in the NFL at quarterback. The third most rushing yards. He scored 3 rushing TDs. That's the second most at quarterback. Last week, he had 107 rushing yards. I mean, all of a sudden, we got a 100+ rushing yard ceiling for Danny Dimes. I mean, that is like the real deal for fantasy and really does move the needle a lot. So yeah, I do think Danny Dimes is startable. Is the rain going to affect it a lot? Yes, I don't think so. So there's not like, it's not like heavy rain. It is going to be moderate to light rain. It's not going to be great for the kickers, probably. It's probably not going to improve the scoring in the game, Jack, but it's not enough for me to say, don't start Giants players. Don't start players in the Giants game because I don't think the rain's going to affect it that much. That's my take on the weather for the Giants. Seahawks game. I still think Wan'Dale Robinson's startable. Why bench Damien Harris? Because he barely played. Had basically no role in his first game back last week. Obviously, weird game script. He could easily score a TD this week against the Jets, but he played 20% of the snaps last week. I mean, he was in a clear backup role. He had 2 points last week, and he doesn't catch passes. So Mondre just seems to have a stronghold on the backfield right now. You can't trust Damien Harris, Olave, or DJ Moore for FanDuel. I don't know the prices on FanDuel. I'm guessing though, based on the prices, I'm going DJ Moore. I'm going DJ Moore with the price point there. Bench one, Waddle, D-Hop, Amon-Ra. Yeah, I would bench. I think I would, honestly, in that situation. I don't know. Yeah, I would. I would bench Amon-Ra. Look at my wide. Or Eno, Benjamin, or Deontay Foreman. Swift, Eno, Deontay Foreman. Yeah, I don't want to bench. I don't want to bench Swift for Eno, Benjamin, or Deontay Foreman. I mean, Avery, let's also just think about this before the season. Imagine this being a draft question. Swift, Benjamin, or Deontay Foreman. And it really puts into perspective how much things change in fantasy football. We're in week 8, and here we are. We're debating Swift versus Eno versus Deontay Foreman. But yeah, I do think Foreman I like Foreman a lot more than Eno. So I think it's between Swift and Foreman. I'm okay playing Foreman over Swift, but personally, I would be playing Swift over Foreman still. I still think Swift's ceiling is a decent amount higher given his ability as a receiver. Garrett Wilson or George Pickens, half PPR at WalterPicks. What up, Mike? I do think that I like Garrett Wilson a lot this week, like way more than most people. Garrett Wilson is my favorite low price target on DraftKings and FanDuel this week. I like his prop a lot this week too. I think I saw it like below 30. I think it's below 30 yards is his prop. And I think that's just a little bit egregious for a guy that's averaging 7 targets, 45 yards a game, and in a game with Corey Davis is out. Corey Davis is out this week, which means we could see more playing time for Garrett Wilson. He has not seen 100% snap share, even close to that in a game. His high snap share this season, 75%. That was back in week 4. I think he's going to play that at least in this game against the Pats. They're 3-point underdogs, which I disagree with as well. I am taking the Jets against the spread, but yeah, I do think George Pickens interesting ceiling as well against the Bills. He's probably the better play, but I actually think it's pretty close. And personally, I would go George I would go George Pickens over Garrett Wilson just by the tiniest amount. But I do think Garrett Wilson is playable. Would you trade Evans and Sanders to RB needy team for Hill and Devontae Smith? Yeah, I would do that, especially if you need receivers. You want Tyreek Hill. Hey Sam, thanks for all the help this season. I got you, Wade, and I got you through the end of the season as well. It's all about winning championships. That's all I really care about. And then when you win, it's about going back to back. That's my mindset. Trevor Lawrence or Malik Willis, Devin Singletary or Foreman. I am playing, I think, Malik Willis over Trevor Lawrence. Let me pull up the QB rankings one more time. Actually, Trevor Lawrence, he's already playing, Wade. What are we doing here? We're on Munich time this morning, Wade. So if you already started Trevor Lawrence, you already started him. He's at halftime right now, or he's about to be at halftime right now. So yeah, we definitely aren't debating Trevor Lawrence start sits, but I would have told you to play Malik Willis over Trevor Lawrence. And then Devin Singletary or Foreman. That one's also really close. I think I would go Deontay Foreman over Devin Singletary, but yeah, it's certainly a close one. Yeah, I would go Foreman over Singletary. I have him 2 spots ahead in my rankings. Swift or Foreman, I would go Swift over Foreman. Why bench Campbell? Because he had fewer than 5 targets in each of the first 5 games. I mean, his floor, Paris Campbell's floor is extraordinarily low. I mean, if you are hoping for a donut in your fantasy lineup, then start Paris Campbell. He's coming off back-to-back games over 10 targets, though. His 2 best games of his career, his 4-year career. And I'm telling you to bench him because Sam Ehlinger is starting. Sam Ehlinger is not a guy that I trust at all at quarterback. He's a 24-year-old 7th-round draft pick from last year. He was slightly above average in college. He's also a decent runner. That's not going to help Paris Campbell. I don't trust Sam Ehlinger. I don't trust the Colts passing attack. I don't really trust Paris Campbell. I mean, he's had 2 good games, back-to-back 2 good games after 5 straight games under 10 fantasy points. I think there's a lot of risk. I think Paris Campbell is a little bit of fool's gold right now. Sam, I was wondering if it's possible for you to do top 20 rankings for each position instead of top 10. Is that something you might consider? Andrew, I think that's a pretty good idea, man. I will consider that. I do think there's a lot of more questions in the comments that probably could be answered if I did top 20 instead of top 10. And I do have top 20 rankings. Like I do rankings. They do help me prepare for these lives. So I will consider it. Start 1, Swift, JT, or Walker. Swift, JT, or Kenneth Walker. Yeah, I think you got to go Kenneth. I'm 1-6. Need help upgrading my team. Burrow, Fournette, Pollard, Higgins, DK, Muth, Debo, Deontay, Judy, Cooks, Chuba Hubbard, Mostert, Gabe, and Gus Bus. Yeah, Gus Bus is a great name that always makes me chuckle. I do think your team is going to start to dig out of this hole, though, because you have Tony Pollard. He's my number 1 running back this week. If you're 1-6, though, you got to make moves with these guys that are hurt. You got to trade Debo Samuel. Like you can't let Debo Samuel sit on your bench if you're 1-6 while he's injured. You got to eat the L with Debo, sell low on Debo, and try to get some wins. That'd be my piece of advice: is see what you can go talk to the people at the top of the standings, ask what they want for Debo Samuel. Schultz or Hurst? I would go Schultz over Hurst. Schultz or Pitts? I'm going Schultz over Pitts. Jamal Williams or A-Rob? I'm nervous for both of those guys this week. I think both of them are my must bench list this week. I think I would go A-Rob though over Jamal Williams with DeAndre Swift back. And back healthy in the lineup. Another Jerry Jeudy catch, up to 58 yards now for Jerry Jeudy. Still don't even think KJ Hamler is out there even running. It feels like in this game, the Broncos maybe going to get into field goal range at the end of this half really quickly here. Mostert or Singletary? I would go Singletary, just an edge, I think, over Mostert. Hey, Sam, should I start Aaron Jones or Stevenson? Worried about Bills matchup. Yeah, it's not a good matchup for Aaron Jones, but it should be at least a game that they're trailing in, and they need to use Aaron Jones a lot. I do think Stevenson is in a pretty good spot this week too. I am okay going Stevenson over Aaron Jones. The Bills have been the number 1 defense against running backs this season. They've allowed the fewest yards per game to running backs this season. Brandon Cooks or Paris Campbell? Yeah, I would lean towards Brandon Cooks over Paris Campbell. Garrett Wilson or Deontay Foreman? Definitely Deontay Foreman over Garrett Wilson, even though I do think Garrett Wilson, pretty good sleeper this week. By the way, the free player prop of the day, it is Malik Willis over 47.5 rushing yards. I am live, by the way, on YouTube and TikTok. I've been live for over 2 hours already. I already got a couple comments that's like, Sam, you look like you need some sleep, man. And maybe I do. Maybe I do need some sleep, but that's what coffee is for. So we're on our second coffee of the day, and we still got another couple hours left in this live, and we're already halfway through the first game. We're on Munich time this morning. I've never been to Munich. I have been to Germany before. Very cool place. I do think that these early games are fun. Though I will again complain that you can't watch this game without ESPN Plus. I mean, how many streaming services? The year is going to be, it's going to be 10 years from now, guys. And like every single game is going to be its own streaming service. It's like you need your own streaming service for literally every single game. That feels like what we're heading to. It's just a little ridiculous how many streaming services you need to pay for to watch these games. Should I trade Diggs and Montgomery for ETN and Lamb? Diggs and Montgomery for ETN and Lamb. I like it. I do. You're getting ETN, huge upgrade over David Montgomery. I think ETN top 10 rest of the season pretty easily. And then Diggs is definitely a downgrade. You're downgrading from Diggs to Lamb, but that's not a huge, that big of a downgrade compared to the running back upgrade. I do like that one. Barkley, CMC, JT, Jacobs, Walker. Start one, please. Yeah, I mean, you got to start like all these guys. I don't know how you could only possibly be able to start one of Barkley, CMC, JT, Jacobs, and Walker. I mean, you have 5 running backs in my top 10 running back rankings. I mean, that is like crazy. It's just crazy. I would be starting Saquon. It's a good matchup for Saquon. I have him as my number 2 running back, but I don't want to bench CMC this week either against the Rams. The Rams' run defense hasn't been bad, but they haven't been great this season either. And there's no Deebo Samuel. CMC now has like 10 days under his belt as a part of the 49ers. CMC probably going to get 20 plus touches today. By the way, kind of strange. Christian McCaffrey, he just played the Rams. He literally, his last game was against the Rams. His last game for the Panthers back in week 6, 2 weeks ago. We saw CMC up against the Rams, and he had 158 yards, 22.8 fantasy points in that game. He did play 86% of the snaps, though. He had 13 carries. He had 8 targets. I think it's going to be more like 20 carries, maybe 5 targets for Christian McCaffrey in this game. But yeah, I mean, we literally just saw 2 weeks ago CMC had 20 points against this Rams defense on a worse offense than he's on now. So I do like CMC a decent amount today, but I'm not starting him over Saquon Barkley. I am playing Malik Willis over Jared Goff, though. There's a lot of QBs I'm playing Malik Willis over, and he's still available in most leagues. I'm playing Malik Willis over Geno Smith, over Daniel Jones, over Derek Carr, over Jared Goff. I'm not playing him over Kirk Cousins. I would play Kirk Cousins over Malik Willis. I would play Kyler. I would play Joe Burrow, Tua, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen over Malik Willis, and that's kind of it. Those are the only QBs I'm playing over Malik. And again, the reason for this is I think he could flirt with 100 rushing yards today. He had 175 in the preseason. He averaged almost 90 yards a game in college. He is a very good runner, and he's also a horrible thrower, and he's also playing the worst run defense in the NFL this week. I mean, the stars are aligning for Malik Willis to enter the NFL scene in his first NFL start. Can I start DeAndre Swift? Yeah, you can start DeAndre Swift. By the way, we're live on TikTok and YouTube right now, and I know it's annoying for the TikTok people for me to tell you to come to the YouTube live, but come to the YouTube live. You're 2 presses of your finger away from the YouTube live, and you get more info on the YouTube live. And I can pull up your comment on the screen on the YouTube live, unlike on the TikTok live. It's just a better viewing experience. I'm not trying to be annoying. I'm actually just trying to give you guys a slightly better live stream experience. And that's on the YouTube live, where you can see my top 10 rankings every position. You can see my DraftKings lineup. Let me talk through the DraftKings lineup again one more time. I am playing Malik Willis in the DraftKings lineup. I think that the QBs to decide between on DraftKings this week, Malik Willis is one of them. Sam Ehlinger is one of them because he's minimum price, but I don't trust Sam Ehlinger. I'm pivoting off of him this week. I'm pivoting towards Malik Willis. I do think Tua is the other QB, though, that I really think you should consider starting in tournaments, stacking him with Waddle and or Tyreek. I do like that a lot this week for sure. I'm playing Tony Pollard in every single DraftKings lineup. He's my number 1 running back this week. I think that he is just such a high ceiling against the Bears, who have allowed the 6th most yards per game to running backs this season. I'm going with Josh Jacobs again. Back to the well with Josh Jacobs. He's my number 4 running back this week. He's the number 2 running back in fantasy points per game this season. I'm playing Justin Jefferson. I do think that the Vikings are going to throw a lot. That's why I'm playing Jefferson and Irv Smith. I don't hate playing Kirk either. Stacking him with Jefferson and Irv, I think, is definitely viable this week on DraftKings. Irv Smith against the Cardinals. The Cardinals have been the 2nd worst defense against tight ends this season. Only the Seahawks have been worse. I like DJ Moore a lot against the Falcons. He's going to be a very popular play. Chalky play is DJ Moore, but I still like DJ Moore a decent amount. Garrett Wilson is another guy that's in almost all my lineups this week. I don't think he's going to be rostered at all on DraftKings. I think his ceiling is really high. We've seen the ceiling from Garrett Wilson already. We haven't really seen it from Zach Wilson since Zach Wilson has been starting, but Corey Davis is out this week. The Jets are underdogs at home. I do like Garrett Wilson a decent amount. And then I'm flexing Kenneth Walker playing the Commanders defense. I do like the Commanders defense a lot against Sam Ehlinger, Pierce or Olave. Yeah, you're not benching Dameon Pierce. You just can't bench guys that are like almost for sure going to get 20 plus touches. So yeah, you kind of have to play. We did get a KJ Hamler target. So I guess he is out there. 0 catches still for KJ Hamler, but halftime of this Broncos-Jaguars game, we got 5 catches, 58 yards, and a TD for Jerry Jeudy already. We do also have Travis Etienne just balling out, 94 rushing yards. He also has 15 receiving yards. Travis Etienne over 100 yards in the first half. No TDs yet for Travis Etienne, but those are probably coming in the second half, even against a good defense. Hey, Sam, Willis or Jacoby at QB? Yeah, definitely going Malik Willis personally over Jacoby. Is Darrell Henderson a good RB2? No, good is not the word I would use. I'd use a word probably more like sketchy. I'd say sketchy RB2 is what Darrell Henderson is. DJ Moore, Myers, Darrell Henderson, pick 2. Yeah, I would go DJ Moore. Probably DK Metcalf as well over Jacoby Myers. I would play Myers, though, over Darrell Henderson also, so I don't want anything to do with Darrell Henderson. What do I do with Courtland Sutton? Jack, there's not much to do, honestly, at this point. I don't think you can sell him for much. I do still think rest of the season, he's going to be Russ's top target. So I think you just kind of have to hold on to him. The other thing I'll say about the Broncos in general that I think is really important to understand for fantasy, and as we get deeper into the season, this matters more and more and more, especially once you know you're already in the fantasy playoffs, looking ahead at the rest of season schedules. And the Broncos have one of the easiest schedules rest of season. And the Broncos have a really, really easy schedule. Let me pull this up. Let me pull the Broncos schedule really quickly just to talk through it, because I know that they do have an easy schedule. I don't have it memorized. So the Broncos, they get the Chiefs in the fantasy football playoffs. The week before that, they get the Rams. And then they get the Cardinals the week before that. And then the Chiefs again. I mean, they have like insanely high scoring projected matchups against relatively bad defenses too. They get the Titans, Raiders, Panthers in their next 3 games. Those are all pretty good games for the offense. They get the Ravens too. They have not been very good against the pass. They don't really have a bad game left from a schedule standpoint. So that's also good. Oh, we got some breaking news here in the YouTube live. Let's check it out. And we do have for a tweet from Schefter, Raiders tight end Darren Waller will be inactive today. Darren Waller is out. I do got to update this here in the WalterPicks app as well, live on the stream. But I do think Darren Waller should be back next week. It's starting to become a little bit of a lost season for Darren Waller, which you hate to see. You hate to see it for one of the better tight ends in the NFL. But yeah, Darren Waller is out. Chalk it up to another tough situation for a lot of tight ends. Tight end start decisions out there this week. But yeah, Darren Waller's out. That is bad news for the Raiders. Bad news for your fantasy team if you were planning on starting Darren Waller. I will get this into the app. Let me see here. Darren Waller's out. That is the breaking news that just came about. I think I did also just read that Gus Edwards is going to be active. I didn't know that was even a possibility that he wasn't going to be active. Let's see here. Good news for Ravens running back Gus Edwards. The hamstring injury he suffered on Thursday is described as minor. Yeah, I mean, they played on Thursday. I don't even know what I'm saying about Gus Edwards. But yeah, apparently his injury is not terrible. Might have found the right formula for quarterback Justin Fields. I mean, it only took you a year and a half to figure that Justin Fields was fast and is a good runner. I mean, it's shocking how long it took for the Bears to design their offense around their quarterback strength. I mean, it seems obvious, but it really is shocking how long it took them to just try to build their offense around Justin Fields rather than throw him out there with one of the worst receiving rooms in the NFL and just had not played to his strengths at all. So I do think that you got to be playing Justin Fields as a runner more, right? If you're the Bears after that game, I feel like they will run Justin Fields more. Definitely makes him an interesting player in fantasy this week. I did see that question of Tua or Willis. I would play Tua definitely over Malik Willis. I have Tua ranked well ahead of Malik Willis. Good morning, Sam. Should I start Eno or B-Rob and start Scary Terry or London? I would play Scary Terry over London. I don't think we can trust Drake London at all at this point. He still has an interesting ceiling, but his floor is 0 points. B-Rob versus Eno is also really close. We don't still know. We still have not gotten word yet if Darrell Williams is playing or not, and that will change my opinion a little bit on Eno Benjamin. I think I would go Eno, though, over Brian Robinson. Yeah, I would go Eno. I think he'll be a little bit more involved in the passing game. DraftKings, my man. Yeah, so we've cashed 3 out of the last 4 DraftKings lineups. I'm feeling good about this one, too. Malik Willis is priced really cheaply, so you can fit a lot of good players into your lineups. There's also $200 left over in this lineup. I do like leaving a little bit left for you guys to tinker with a little bit. If you're going to use or use this to guide you a little bit on your DraftKings lineup, I'll call out my favorite aspects of this lineup. First of all, I have Tony Pollard in every single DraftKings lineup this week. He's my number one running back this week. This is Tony Pollard week. I mean, could be a coming out party for Tony Pollard. I'm talking like a huge game for Pollard. It's definitely possible. The Bears have allowed the 6th most running back yards per game in the NFL this season. They've been top 10 against quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends. I mean, it is a run funnel defense for the Bears, who also struggle on offense, which also leads to more running against them. Zeke is out. Tony Pollard, the 4th best yards per touch in the NFL. He's averaging 6.4 yards per touch this season. I mean, everything lines up for Tony Pollard to completely smash this week. I think you have to start Tony Pollard in all DraftKings lineups and all season-long lineups too. And then I am playing Josh Jacobs again this week. He's the number 2 running back in fantasy points per game this season right now. He's number 4 running back for me this week. I do like him a decent amount because I paid down from Malik Willis. I'm able to get Justin Jefferson in there like that a lot as well. But my other 2 favorite aspects of this lineup are Garrett Wilson and Irv Smith. I am playing DJ Moore. He's very chalky this week, though I do like him against the Falcons. I am okay leaning into that chalk a little bit. But Garrett Wilson's my favorite low ownership, low price player that I'm playing on DraftKings this week. He's in a lot of my lineups. I think that his ceiling's still really high. There's no Corey Davis this week too, which should condense the target tree a little bit. What running back should I target after the Hall injury? Yeah, so there's a lot of running backs out there right now to target. Definitely one of them though is Michael Carter, who's going to benefit a decent amount from the Breece Hall injury. I also think my favorite sleeper running back out there right now that you can go add for free in a lot of leagues is Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams, I think, will return next week for the Rams, and I think he could be their starting running back, literally next week. DJ Moore or Tyler Boyd at flex. Yeah, I would lean towards DJ Moore over Boyd still, even though the Jamar Chase injury is really big for Boyd. Kenneth Walker or Olave PPR. Yeah, I'm playing Kenneth. I side towards the running backs who their volume's just a little bit more locked in than the receivers. All right, let's get to some more of these comments in the YouTube, TikTok live. By the way, again, we're live on YouTube and TikTok. The live stream experience, it is a little bit better on the YouTube live. You get my top 10 rankings every position. I can pull up your comments. The comment section is also just a little less spammy. You can come to the YouTube live. It's free. Link is in the TikTok bio. All of my content that I make, for the most part, it is free. I do appreciate, by the way, because all my content's free, I do appreciate you guys just dropping the like button, hitting the subscribe button. I know there's a like button on the TikTok live. Also hit the follow button. All right, let's get to this comment from Car55. Knox or Harrison Bryant or Schultz desperate at tight end. Yeah, we're all desperate at tight end, so you're not alone in that one. And I actually think Dalton Schultz is the move. I think Dalton Schultz is pretty clearly the move over Dawson Knox, over Harrison Bryant. And I think that Dalton Schultz, like he might be the guy, one of these guys that can help us scrape and crawl out of the desolate wasteland that is the tight end position. If Dalton Schultz can just please, Dalton Schultz, please stay healthy, man. If he can stay healthy, I do think he is a route out of the desolate wasteland that it has been tight end this season. Garrett Wilson or Brandon Cooks? Should I pick up London from waivers? London is not much better than either of these guys. I would probably go Brandon Cooks over. I think I would go Brandon Cooks in that one. Metcalf today or Thielen. I do still like Metcalf more than Thielen. Hi, Sam. Gallup, London, or Alec Pierce. Oh, God. I don't trust the Colts passing attack. Bad sign for Alec Pierce that Paris Campbell's being out targeting him the last 2 games. I don't think you can start Drake London. I feel like by process of elimination almost, you kind of have to go Michael Gallup there. Mostert or Pierce. If that's Alec Pierce, then go Mostert. If that's Dameon Pierce, which I think it's Dameon Pierce, you got to go Dameon Pierce over Raheem Mostert. What do I do with James Robinson? Hold on to him. Maybe he could become the running back 1 for the Jets. I don't see that happening, though. I would trade him if you can get anything for him. I think that he might be a drop in a couple of weeks. He definitely can't be started. Hey, Sam, Mariota, Stafford, or Dalton, Mahomes, bye week. Yeah, I think I would probably lean towards Stafford. I think I'd probably go Stafford over Dalton and over Mariota. Let me pull up the QB rankings here, actually, because none of these guys are near my top 10. Stafford is the closest, though. Yeah, I would go Stafford. Mariota is not a guy that I love this week. I like the rushing for Mariota, but we know he can't throw. Mariota cannot throw. Not only can he not throw, he's not getting to throw because he can't throw. It's like the Falcons have such little confidence in Mariota's throwing ability that they're just not letting him throw, and that's not good for fantasy. Terry McLaurin, Brandon Cooks. Yeah, I would lean towards Brandon Cooks over Terry McScoren. This week, Terry McScoren is up against the number 1 pass defense in the NFL. This week, Campbell or Dobbs. I would go Dobbs over Campbell. Is it worth trading for McLaurin? I don't hate the move. I still think he is underperforming this season based on like what he will do rest of season. It's not a good matchup for him this week, though. You might want to wait one more week to trade for Terry McLaurin. He's coming off a good game, too. He had his first touchdown since week 1 last week. 8 targets last week. Clearly the top target for the Commanders. So, yeah, I don't hate McLaurin rest of the season. I do think, though, that you can bench McLaurin this week in a lot of spots. I need to risk my best player to get others. So I traded away Kelsey and T for Amon-Ra, Debo, Pat, and DJ. Then I traded back Amon-Ra for T and Judy. Thoughts? Yeah, Ben, you got to make moves. If you're 1-6, I mean, you have to trade your guys that aren't playing right now. When is Patterson coming back? This is a good question. I think there's a range of times that he could come back based on when they put him on IR. That timeline's coming up pretty soon. Cordell Patterson, last report we got was October 3rd. That was about a month ago. Let me see if it says here. The soonest he could return is week 9 against the Chargers. Yeah, so next week. We could see Cordell Patterson next week. And that's a pretty big deal because the Falcons are very, very run heavy. Patterson will be in the top 20 running back conversation. Why is Dulcich underperforming? I just think the expectations maybe were a little bit too high for Dulcich. I was seeing Dulcich or Kyle Pitts questions in the chat this morning. That was a little bit surprising to me. Dulcich is not a guy that like has a high floor by any means. I mean, almost no tight ends have a high floor, but Dulcich he's played 2 games. He's a rookie tight end. Rookie tight ends are almost never consistent. And he's on the Broncos. Like the Broncos offense has also been, just abysmal this season. So I don't think Dulcich is by any means like this locked in stud at tight end. Sorry, I think I just missed that question. I will get back to that one. CD or Mondre, half PPR. I would go CD Lamb personally over Mondre in a half PPR league, though Mondre's certainly safer than CD Lamb. The Bears have been good against receivers. They've been good against quarterbacks. They've been horrible against running backs. Start one, Swift, JT, or Walker. Yeah, I do have JT. I think one spot ahead of Walker. I don't have Swift in my top 10, though I think he could easily be top 10 this week. There's just a little bit more risk with Swift in his first game back. I personally would be going JT in this situation. The instant reaction to the Matt Ryan news that Matt Ryan was going to get benched, Sam Ehlinger was going to play. My instant reaction was, wow, JT's about to get the ball 30 times in this game, isn't he? Because there's no way Sam Ehlinger can move the ball and be the focal point of this offense. And JT, he didn't play that much last week. Like he clearly wasn't at 100%, or they were sort of easing him back in. But he also escaped, I think, with no injuries. 10 carries. He had 8 targets, too, in that game. He ended up with 15 points, only 85 yards. But I think we see JT back closer to a 70% snap share this week. And I think he's going to get the ball a ton with Sam Ehlinger starting. That's good news. Is it worth keeping Patterson? Yeah, Matt, definitely keep Patterson. Definitely keep Patterson. He's coming back potentially next week. Mixon or JT? I'm going JT over Mixon as well. Start McCaffrey. Yes, start Christian McCaffrey. 100%. I do like CeeDee Lamb more than Olave, just a little bit. I love Olave, but CeeDee Lamb's one spot ahead of Olave for me. Kareem Hunt or Jamal Williams? Yeah, I would lean towards Jamal Williams, I think, over Kareem Hunt. I'm pretty nervous for Hunt this week. Yeah, it's definitely worth keeping Deontay Johnson. Do I trade Njoku if I have Schultz? Yeah, you can trade Njoku if you have Schultz. Njoku's injury, I think, was actually pretty serious as well. Is it worth trading for Mostert? Depends what you're giving up. But yeah, Mostert has seen workhorse level usage. I don't hate getting Mostert on your team, depending on what it takes. It hopefully won't take that much, though. Like a wide receiver 2 plus a bench piece or something from Mostert, or wide receiver 3 plus a bench piece. That seems worth it to me, especially if you need a running back. Waller is out. Yeah, Darren Waller is out. I didn't have him as out in my TikTok live screenshot because I've been live for a couple hours and that news just came out. But yeah, Darren Waller is out today. That's big news. Big news from this morning. Probably the biggest news, honestly, is Darren Waller being out. There's a lot of injuries, though. A lot of injuries to be aware of today. Michael Thomas out again. Deebo Samuel out. Zeke out. Ryan Tannehill out. Matt Ryan out. Jarvis Landry out. Breece Hall obviously out. James Conner out. Alan Lazard out. Chuba Hubbard out. Jahan Dotson, Kenny Golladay, Nico Collins also all out. All those guys being out impacts those teams and some of those players on those teams. All right. Foster Moreau likely will get some increased run today, but he's certainly not like a must-start guy by any means. We have him as the number 45. Sorry, the number 23 tight end. That's Foster Moreau this week. All right, so start 2, Kamara, Cook, Mostert. Yeah, I think I would just go with the first two. Assuming that's Dalvin Cook. Yeah, I would go Kamara and Dalvin Cook over Mostert. By the way, another way you guys could really help me out. The best way is checking out the WalterPicks app, trying out one of the premium subs in the WalterPicks app. But that's if I know the subscriptions won't be for everyone in the WalterPicks app. Tossing us a 5-star review in the iOS or Android app stores, Google Play App Store, does help me out a ton as well. If I do get your start sit, that's one thing I ask of you is tossing us a 5-star review in the App Store for the WalterPicks app. Trade Fournette and Sutton for ETN. I would do that one. I think actually ETN I do think is better than Fournette rest of season, as good as Fournette's been, and Sutton is definitely pretty risky at this point. I do like upgrading there to Travis Etienne. I have Jacobs, K9, Diggs, Higgins, but need Olave or Pollard in flex. You got to start Pollard. Everyone has to start Pollard. All start sit Pollard questions are Pollard. It's Pollard. It's Pollard week. Happy Tony Pollard week. You're starting Tony Pollard this week. Stevenson or Foreman. I do like Stevenson a little bit more than Foreman. I don't hate trading Ayuka. The bazooka, this could be a good week to do that after the Deebo Samuel injury too. Do I drop Hunt, Campbell, or Tony for Kyron? I don't think you can drop any of those guys. No. If you're going to drop one of them, personally, I think it's Paris Campbell. Might be worth waiting one more week though for that. I don't think anyone's going to add Kyron Williams anytime super soon. Are Adams and Carr playing? Yeah, both guys are playing. Both guys are playing this week. Mostert or Olave? I would go Olave over Mostert. Dak or Tua? I do like Tua more than Dak. Let me pull up my QB rankings on the YouTube live again. Again, smash the like button if you're watching live on YouTube. Hit the follow button if you're watching live on TikTok. Amari or Boyd? I personally like. Let's actually see. Let me see. That's a really tough one. I feel like Amari versus Boyd because obviously most weeks it's Amari over Boyd. I do have Boyd over Amari. I have Boyd over Amari this week. So yeah, I would go Boyd over Amari. Boyd is in a good spot. I'm playing Boyd. I have Boyd right one spot behind DK Metcalf, one spot behind Michael Pittman. He's up there. He's my number 15, number 18 receiver this week. Paris Campbell or Brandon Cooks? I would go Brandon Cooks over Paris Campbell. Again, I'm out on Paris Campbell this week. I'm nervous for Sam Ehlinger starting at QB, and I'm also just nervous for Paris Campbell. We've never seen a consistent Paris Campbell. We've seen 5 straight games this season where he went under 10 points. People are forgetting about that really quickly. But Paris Campbell was really an afterthought in the first 5 weeks of the season. He's coming off 2 of his best games of his career. Dak or Willis? Yeah, I'm playing Malik Willis over Dak Prescott this week. That's probably a risky approach. You guys, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know I like to take risks. I like to take risks with potential rewards. And the potential reward with Malik Willis is huge rushing upside. I mean, 100-plus rushing yard upside with Malik Willis against the Texans, the worst run defense in the league. So, yeah, I do like him. Where do you have Higgins in your rankings? Yeah, so let me pull up the wide receiver rankings. I think he was in there, right? He was number 5. I have T. Higgins number 5 in my wide receiver ranking. So, yeah, top 5 option. I mean, without Jamar Chase, I mean, he's a locked-in wide receiver 1, in my opinion. Deontay Johnson or Pickens? I personally like playing Deontay more than Pickens because Deontay just has a much safer floor. He's got one of the safest floors among all receivers, especially in PPR leagues. Tyler Boyd, Ayuk or Michael Carter? Definitely going Boyd in that over Ayuk or the Bazooka over Michael Carter. I think I would go Michael Carter over Ayuk or the Bazooka as well. Thank you for the gift in the TikTok live. Do appreciate that. Schultz or Hayden Hurst? I would go Schultz over Hayden Hurst. Mostert or Ramondre? I do like Ramondre a little bit more than Mostert. Where's DJ Moore in your rankings? Let me pull up the wide receiver rankings again. I do have DJ Moore a decent amount higher than I think most people would maybe expect. I have him as wide receiver 15. So I have it goes AJ Brown is 1 spot ahead of DJ Moore for context, and he's ahead of Michael Pittman, DK Metcalf, Tyler Boyd as well. So yeah, I do like DJ Moore a lot this week, and we saw it last week. The thing with DJ Moore, it's like there's not a situation like this, like maybe a few spots, but it's just so clearly he's the most talented player on the team. Like there's no one even remotely close to his talent level on his team. Running backs, receivers, tight ends, nothing. I mean, he's so far above talent-wise everyone else that there's just no way he's not involved a lot in every game. Like you just have to force feed him almost, regardless of the situation. And we saw it last week, 10 targets for DJ Moore. If he gets another 10 targets against the Falcons, I mean, he's going to be a wide receiver 2 at least. Willis over Daniel Jones. Yeah, so I do have Willis over Daniel Jones. It's certainly a risky move playing Willis over Daniel Jones, who Daniel Jones himself went over 100 rushing yards last week. So I could easily see an argument where it's like, Sam, what do you mean? Playing Malik Willis over Daniel Jones for the rushing upside. We just saw the rushing upside from Daniel Jones, but Malik Willis has a matchup against the Texans, the worst run defense in the league. That's why I'm so bullish on Malik Willis. This week, again, he ran for 175 yards in the preseason. He ran over 90 yards a game in college. Malik Willis is more of a running back than a quarterback. And that's good for fantasy football for the most part. So yeah, I do like Malik Willis a little bit more than Daniel Jones if you are risky like me. But if you're playing it safe, then I do think Daniel Jones is much safer. I mean, Malik Willis is a pretty big unknown. But I don't think that I think Blackshear, there's the name. Yeah, Blackshear is a name that I literally had to Google. Like there probably a lot of other people this week. Like, who is Blackshear? He's the backup running back for the Rams now. And no, we don't want anything to do with Blackshear at all. Sorry, the Panthers. I say the Rams, the Panthers. With Chuba Hubbard out, he's going to be backing up Deontay Foreman, but I don't have any faith in the undrafted running back Raheem Blackshear. Okay, someone just dropped Melvin Gordon in my league. Should I drop Brady to get him next week? No, Melvin Gordon is not worth very much right now in fantasy. Taysom Hill or Dalton Schultz, tight end, full PPR. I'm playing Schultz over Taysom. I actually made the same decision in one of my leagues. I am playing Schultz over Tatum. Should I trade Courtland Sutton? I don't love trading Sutton. I think you're probably selling low on Sutton right now. And I also think I like the rest of the season schedule a lot for Courtland Sutton. Looks like the Broncos have the ball right now. Not too much has happened in this game since the first half started. Evan Ingram is up to 55 yards and a TD on 4 catches. He's having a really good game. Evan Ingram is going to be a top 10 tight end this week, 100% with the performance he has up to this point. Dallas Cowboys or Bills defense standard. Yeah, probably the Bills. The Bills are huge favorites today. Pollard or CD. I'm not benching Pollard in a single situation. There's not a single situation. There's not a single start that you could ask that I'm going to tell you to bench Tony Pollard. I have him as my number 1 running back this week. So start Tony Pollard. It is Tony Pollard week. Pierce, Walker, or Aaron Jones. Pick 2. Yeah, so I like all 3 of these guys, but I think I would probably bench Aaron Jones in this one. Aaron Jones is up against the Bills. The Bills have allowed the least fantasy points to running backs this season. Not a worse defense to be going up against than the Bills for Aaron Jones. He obviously will be involved, and they probably will be losing. But I do think that it is okay to bench Aaron Jones this week. My fantasy team is basically your DK lineup. Willis, CMC, Jacobs, Amon-Ra, Moore, Pollard. That is probably a good thing. I'm not going to lie. Willis is definitely the riskiest one. And the reason I like Willis so much on DK too is he's basically minimum price. Like, that's a pretty big edge to get. But yeah, I do like Willis this week. That's why I'm starting him. I like CMC a lot too. And as CMC, I couldn't fit in the DK lineup. He costs way too much. Should I drop James Robinson for Kieran? I don't hate it, Nick. This one, I don't see a huge path to upside for James Robinson. He's not going to be as good as Breece Hall. He's probably going to play behind Michael Carter, and he's on the Jets. I think Kieran Williams at least has a path to some sort of upside on the Rams. Should I drop James Robinson for Kieran Williams? Yeah, so I don't hate it. Do I trade Hurts for ETN and Geno? I would do that one. Yeah, I would prefer Travis Etienne to Jalen Hurts. Ayuk or Moore. Every week we get this. There's so many Moores. There is Rondo Moore. There's DJ Moore. There is Elijah Moore. There is Sky Moore. I mean, I didn't even name all the Moores. I mean, there is more Moores than you realize. So we need first names, first and last names in these start sit questions. I'm going to assume you meant DJ Moore because DJ Moore is a good start. And I would start DJ Moore this week. I do not have defense rankings, though my favorite defense today is the Commanders defense against Sam Ehlinger, and he's available in a lot of leagues. That is the defense I'm playing on my DraftKings lineup, which you can see on the YouTube Live right now. How do you feel about Panthers defense this week? Yeah, so they're I think the minimum price defense on DraftKings, which makes them playable on DraftKings. But in general, no, I don't love the Panthers defense this week. I know they had a pretty good week last week. Schultz or Hawk? Let me pull up my tight end rankings again on the YouTube Live. I think I do have Hawk 1 spot ahead of Schultz. It's definitely really close, though. Aaron Jones or Foreman? Yeah, I think you kind of have to go Aaron Jones over Foreman, even though I do like Foreman this week. Dulcich is going off this drive. All it takes is for me to trash talk some Greg Dulcich a little bit. And it looks like the Broncos just took the lead. Melvin Gordon, 1 yard, touchdown. He has 25 yards and a TD. Now the Broncos leading the Jaguars 13-10. Greg Dulcich has 87 yards. All of a sudden, Greg Dulcich storms onto the scene. And we did get a KJ Hamler catch. There we go. He's like half of the way there to his prop line now. But yeah, I do think that Greg Dulcich, I mean, he's looking pretty good, honestly, for a rookie tight end. I'm impressed. I'm impressed for what we've seen from Greg Dulcich. Now it's 3 straight good games. His last 2 games, he went over 10 fantasy points. 3 straight games over 10 points in his first 3 games as a tight end in the NFL. I mean, Dulcich might be the real deal, guys. Hayden Hurst or Robert Tonyan. I would lean towards Where's the sound coming from? Oh, they're playing replays. They won't show me the game if they're playing replays and blasting it during my live stream. Hayden Hurst or Robert Tonyan? This one's definitely close too. I kind of lean towards Hayden Hurst though. With Jamar Chase out, I think Hayden Hurst is a little bit more of an exciting play. Eagles defense or Jets defense? Got to be the Eagles defense. Jets defense is in play against the crumbling Patriots offense, but I do think that the Eagles are 10.5 point favorites. I think. Let me the spread one more time. I did take the Eagles game despite them being huge favorites. They're playing the Steelers, 10.5 point favorites. Yeah, you got to play the Eagles. You got to play the Eagles defense for sure. Why cut Michael Thomas? I didn't say cut Michael Thomas. That says out. It doesn't say cut. It says out. He's out. Michael Thomas is out with a toe injury because he's always out. He's basically always out. So if you wanted to cut him, it's not the worst thing. But Michael Thomas, I think, will play it at some point this season, but not this week. Michael Thomas out again makes Chris Olave a must start for sure. All right, Wan'Dale, Jacoby, Marquise Goodwin, Michael Gallup, Tyler Algier. I'd go with the first two guys. I'd go Wan'Dale and Jacoby. Definitely over Marquise Goodwin with Lockett playing, Metcalf playing. Lockett's not for sure playing, but if Lockett plays, Goodwin's not worthless. And then Gallup is coming off a 0-point game. I do hope he bounces back. And Algier is probably the safest guy because he will see carries this week against the Panthers. But yeah, I'd probably go Wan'Dale and Jacoby over all three of them, especially if this is a PPR league. If it's not a PPR league, I think you can consider Tyler Algier a little bit more. Someone offered me Carr and Taylor. For Hurts and Sanders, do I take it? It's a pretty fair offer. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, you are giving up the better QB here, but Jonathan Taylor, I do like more than Sanders rest of season. So I think it's a pretty fair deal. And I do like downgrading QB to upgrade running back, just in general. I think that is a good move. But it's a fair trade. Amon-Ra or Olave, I'm playing Amon-Ra over Olave. I'm playing Malik Willis over Justin Fields, though. I do think there's a case for Fields over Malik Willis as well. Justin Fields, if he does get as much run as he got last week, he will be a good quarterback to be starting this week. Let me pull up the Justin Fields stuff really quickly. They finally designed the offense around him in the last couple of games. He's got over 80 rushing yards in back-to-back games now. He's been a top 10 QB in fantasy back-to-back. Seems like the Bears are starting to realize, yeah, maybe we should design our offense around our quarterback strengths. Maybe that's something that will help us on offense. And I think they sort of have stumbled into figuring that out. And it's probably going to be the same thing this week for the Bears. So Justin Fields is definitely startable. He's probably safer than Malik. But again, I like Malik Willis's upside as a rusher in this game this week too against the Texans' dead last run defense. The Cowboys defense is pretty good. They've been top 10 against every single position this season. So a much easier matchup for Malik. That's why I am siding with Malik over Justin Fields. Nick Chubb or Josh Jacobs? You have to start Josh Jacobs. He's number 4 in fantasy points per game this season. Actually, he's number 2. Sorry. He's number 4 in my rankings this week. He's number 2 in fantasy points per game at the running back position. He's on such a tear, man. You got to be starting Josh Jacobs. Good morning, Sam. Good morning. It is a great morning. We've been on Munich time this morning. There's a game going on right now between the Jaguars and the Broncos. Jaguars actually just took the lead in that game. And we have the Jaguars with the ball down 14-10. Greg Dulcich just had a tear of drive. He's up to 87 yards. Evan Ingram, 55 yards in the TD. It's been a good morning, man. Judy also having a pretty good start to this game. Tyler Boyd, MPJ, who I think is, who's that? Who's MPJ? And then Ayuk. Thanks. When I hear MPJ, and I bet it's Michael Pittman Jr., now that I'm saying it, I don't know why. I think of Michael Porter. Michael Porter is who I think of, and that's an NBA player. But yeah, I think that Boyd versus, I'm not starting Ayuk over Boyd or Michael Pittman Jr. I do think that a Boyd versus Pittman is a really tough decision because obviously in normal situations we're playing Pittman over Boyd, like for sure. I don't trust Ellinger this week. I still would go Pittman over Boyd, though. I think I have Pittman 2 spots ahead of Boyd in my rankings. Besides through the Walter app, is there a way to financially support you? You've won me a few DFS and fantasy weeks. Mark Arnold, thanks for asking this. I actually really do appreciate this. Most of the content I put out there is totally free, and this is just something that is just sort of the reality of being a fantasy football content creator. But the number one way to support me is in the WalterPicks app. Doing one of the subscriptions in the WalterPicks app, number one way you could support me. The other best way you could support me personally is doing the live subscription on the TikTok live, just generally following us on social media, TikTok, YouTube, and tossing a 5-star review to the app helps a lot too. I won't ask for anything more than that though, man. Honestly, if you've already subscribed to the app, you've already done a huge a huge service to me. And like our subscribers in the WalterPicks app are why I'm able to give away so much content for free, right? This is part of the reason this is part of my full-time job, is because of the subscribers in the app. I'm able to keep reinvesting in content and improving the app. So I do appreciate that a lot. It is the number one way you could support me. I won't ask for anything more than that. Paris Campbell or Curtis Samuel. I personally would be going Curtis Samuel over Paris Campbell. Definitely in a minority here. I bet if you went to someone else's live stream right now and asked that question, they would say Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell's had over 10 targets in each of the last 2 games. But what they won't mention is that Paris Campbell went under 5 targets in each of the first 5 games. Like, it feels like so fast people forgetting about how low of a floor Paris Campbell has. And Sam Ehlinger, I don't think is going to boost Paris Campbell. I think he's going to hurt Paris Campbell. I do like Curtis Samuel a little bit more this week, even though he's got a much tougher matchup. First place, thanks to you. That's what I'm talking about, Alex. Who should I start at my flex spot, full PPR, Jamal Williams or George Pickens? I like George Pickens PPR more than Jamal Williams with DeAndre Swift back in the lineup. Travis Etienne, by the way, just getting fed in this game. 17 carries. I mean, this is what I'm saying with the James Robinson trade. So big for Travis Etienne. He's a top 10 running back rest of the season for sure. Waddle or Tyreek? Got to be Tyreek over Waddle. So I have McCaffrey, Saquon, Swift, Mostert, and Foreman. Should I do the Swift? Should I do a trade with Swift and Pickens for Kelsey? I kind of like it. Yeah, Swift and Pickens for Kelsey. Also with a Mark Andrews injury, one of my first thoughts with that Mark Andrews injury on Thursday night is like, wow, the Travis Kelsey teams just got even better, right? Like the Travis Kelsey advantage with a Mark Andrews injury is even more profound than it already was. And again, I just look around at your standings. I can almost guarantee you the team with Travis Kelsey is near the top 3 in your league. I mean, it's been a huge advantage this week. So yeah, this season. So I don't hate that trade at all. Foreman or Eno Benjamin. I'm starting DJ Moore. So I'd be starting 2 Panthers. Yeah, I don't like starting 2 Panthers. And I found myself having to avoid that a lot on my DraftKings lineup this week too, because Foreman is not a bad play at running back. He's probably going to see 15 plus carries against a bad Falcons defense. But DJ Moore, he's probably going to see like 8 plus targets against a bad Falcons secondary. So, but I agree. I don't want to start 2 Panthers. They're the slowest offense in the NFL. They may be the worst offense in the entire league. They were averaging the least plays per game in the league, or they're down there, with the Bears and some of these other bad offenses. So I hear you not wanting to start 2 Panthers. I'm okay just locking in Foreman and Eno Benjamin, the 2 running backs who are almost definitely going to get 15 plus touches this week. What's your take on Boyd this week? He is a really good play this week. I have Boyd right after DK Metcalf. I am as inside my top 20. I have him as number 18 wide receiver this week. And maybe you could make an argument he should be even higher with Jamar Chase out. Guys, we're live on YouTube and TikTok right now. Make sure you're hitting the like button on TikTok, the follow button on TikTok as well, and the like button on YouTube. The like button on TikTok, by the way, you literally just tap the screen. Just tap the screen, and that's the like button. Foreman or Brian Robinson? I like Foreman a little bit more than Brian Robinson. What's your stance on Debo rest of season? Yeah, so let me read the latest report of exactly how long he's out. Actually, for Debo, obviously, the injury is the take here, right? Like, how injured do you think he is? Because if he is, it's a hamstring injury. That's not good. He won't play week 8. I still think he's going to be back at points this season. At time that he had a good chance to play this week. He didn't practice though this whole week. He was questionable at one point, but yeah. So I don't think that the injury is good. He's probably going to miss maybe another week. Like, these hamstring injuries are really tough to get over sometimes. But I do think Debo, when healthy, I mean, he's still top 10 wide receiver each week. But yeah, I guess my general take rest of the season on Debo for your fantasy decisions is like, if you are not in the fantasy playoffs right now, you should probably trade Debo Samuel. Like, if you're not in your top 6 of your league, if there's 6 playoff teams, trade Debo Samuel. Go talk to the guy in the top of the league and be like, look, I'm down bad. I got to make the playoffs. You're already in the playoffs. So what do you want for Debo? That's a good way to approach a trade if you do have Debo Samuel and you're not in the playoff picture right now. What's your DK lineup? Yeah, I'm pulling my DK lineup one more time. I did leave some tinker room as usual in the DraftKings lineup. There is actually $200 left in salary here. And I'll tell you the guys that I would not change and the guys that I would think about changing. First of all, my three core pieces of most of my lineups this week: Tony Pollard, Garrett Wilson, Irv Smith. I like all 3 of those guys a lot at their price points. Irv Smith playing the Cardinals. They've been second worst against tight ends this season. Garrett Wilson playing the Pats. I don't think anyone's going to play Garrett Wilson this week. His over-under is like 29.5 yards, which is pretty ridiculous for a guy that's averaging 7 targets, 45 yards a game. We haven't seen a good game with him with Zach Wilson. I think that's part of the sour taste in everyone's mouth with Garrett Wilson. But Corey Davis is also out this week. Garrett Wilson has not played more than 75% of snaps in any games this season. I think that could happen for the first time this week. So I do like Garrett Wilson a lot as a low-priced, low-owned guy in tournaments. I'm also playing Josh Jacobs, Justin Jefferson in this lineup. I think both guys could be the number one at their position any given week. There's some really good running back options this week, though. The running back choices are really tough. I think CMC could break a slate. I think Derrick Henry could break the slate. I think Tony Pollard will break the slate, though he'll be really popular. But there's a lot of starting running backs out there at pretty cheap prices this week. Kenneth Walker, I'm playing in the flex. I would think about tinkering with that. I am going with Malik Willis in this lineup to pay up for some of these other guys. I think if you're not going Malik Willis, my favorite other QB to go with though this week is Tua. And the other thing that I feel like I'm missing in this lineup is a Jalen Waddle or a Tyreek Hill, because I think the Waddle, Tyreek stack is great because the target volume is really concentrated on Waddle and Tyreek in the Dolphins offense. That makes them stacking them even better. The Broncos did get the ball back and they have the ball marching right now. 1st and 10 is what I'm seeing. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Cousins or Tua, let me pull my QB rankings again. You'll see I do have Tua really high. I have him as, I think, my number 3 QB this week, and Tua looked pretty good. He really should have thrown multiple interceptions last game, so he might have come away with a better stat line than he actually deserved. But Tua did throw the ball an encouraging 35 times in his first game back against the Steelers. Steelers have been really bad on defense, but he still threw 261 yards. I really hope, I think we all hope, Tua, stop running into defenders. Slide. Please, Tua, just slide. Just slide, man. Just slide. We all want you to slide. You should want to slide. Your team should want you to slide. Just slide. Stop running headfirst into defenders. Tua, please. Please. For the love of God, please. McLaurin or Amon-Ra or Swift. I would probably go Amon-Ra over McLaurin and over Swift. So Swift is one of these guys that I think has maybe the widest range of outcomes this week. Like, I could easily see Swift, and what I'm expecting from Swift is like close to 50% of the snaps, like 10 to 15 touch range. That's what I'm expecting. But that gives him a really wide range of outcomes, right? We've seen Swift back in week 1, he had 175 yards on just about that many touches. If he sees more touches than that, all of a sudden Swift could be the number 1 running back. He's a beast through the air. He's got a good offensive line. But also on the lower end of that range of outcomes, he sees 10 carries, 2 targets. He doesn't get a touchdown. And all of a sudden he's like around 10, maybe fantasy points. So yeah, I think I'd like Amon-Ra just like a little bit more than him. But I do think there's a scenario where Swift does have a huge week. If you've got to start 2, who will it be? D-Hop, Devontae, or DJ Moore? Yeah, I'm starting the first 2 for sure. Starting the first 2. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves with DJ Moore, who's coming off his best game, but he has some pretty bad weeks before that. And again, DJ Moore, like, he's in this weird, unique situation where it's great for fantasy. He's just so clearly the most talented player on his offense that they have to give him the ball and use him a lot. I do think that, a negative 8-yard sack there for Russ on 3rd down. I hate to see that, Russ. But yeah, I do think that I just lost my train of thought there. But I think you got the point. Benjamin or Michael Carter. If Darrell Williams doesn't play, I would go Eno over Michael Carter. And I don't have a read on the Darrell Williams thing. He's not a big enough player to have much news coming out. Okay. The Dolphins really don't want to play their 4th round rookie wide receiver, but they obviously think he can be developed considering he hasn't been waived. So I don't know what that is from Mike Clay. Officially active: Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams, Dalton Schultz, Michael Parsons, Nelson Aguilar, Matt Prater. Officially inactive: Zeke, Darren Waller, Joe Flacco is inactive as well. Zeke is officially inactive. Happy Tony Pollard. We've been saying that for a while. By the way, Andy Holloway tweeting out during this game today, through 2.5 quarters, Greg Dulcich has 87 receiving yards. Kyle Pitts, his last 3 starts combined, 53 yards. So in that one drive, Greg Dulcich just got more yards than Kyle Pitts has in the last 3 weeks. I hope you can see it on my face, but just the Kyle Pitts stuff is so brutally tough. So brutal. And that's why Kyle Pitts is not in my top 10 tight end rankings this week. I don't think he's in top 10 tight end rankings rest of the season. He's close to being droppable at this point. Morning, Sam. Love the content and the WalterPicks app. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Start 1, Swift, Pollard, CMC. Yes, there's not a single question. There's not a single question today. And this one proves it. This one was, do I start Tony Pollard or CMC? I'm starting Pollard over CMC. I am. I'm starting Pollard over CMC. I Pollard is my number 1 running back. And I don't want to bench CMC. I have him as my number 3 running back. Really, you got to be able to start both Pollard and CMC. I don't know. Like, the only situation where I wouldn't start CMC is if I have Pollard and Saquon. But even still, I start CMC in the flex in most standard leagues. So I like to start both guys. But yeah, you're starting Tony Pollard this week. He's my number one running back this week. Zeke is out. Can you pull up wide receiver rankings? I can pull up the wide receiver rankings. I got you on the YouTube live. I got you on the TikTok live. Olave or Kamara? I would play Kamara over Olave, but it's definitely close. Need your help, Sam. Swift or Mondre? Yeah, I lean towards Mondre, just a nidge over Swift. It's close though. Let me actually pull it up. I might be off on that one. Yeah, I do have Mondre over Swift. I would go Mondre ahead of Swift. Trade Olave for Amon-Ra. Yeah, I actually would prefer Amon-Ra over Olave rest of season, but both guys are going to be really good. I like both them a lot. Both are in my top 10 rankings this week. Swift or Mostert. This one I would go Swift, I think, over Mostert. Definitely close. Hey, Sam, flex Foreman or Cooks in half PPR. Walter is Foreman higher projected, but lower boom percentage. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I would go Foreman, though. And I do think Foreman's his ceiling isn't that far off of Cooks, in my opinion. It's more about the TDs with a ceiling. And he's playing the Falcons. I think he sees 15-plus carries against a bad Falcons run defense. I don't think there's much more to say than that. And it makes his floor is much, much better. And that shouldn't be ignored either. Darrell Williams is now playing. Let's see this. Did we get this report? I'm not seeing it. But I feel like all those reports just came out. We should see. Let me see. Can anyone else confirm, is Darrell Williams playing or not playing? This does impact the Eno Benjamin situation. Myles Gaskin is inactive this week. Dalton Schultz is active. David Andrews inactive. Oh, man. The Pats, how are the Pats favored in this game? The Patriots are missing their starting center, their best defensive tackle, maybe their best defender in Christian Barmore, and they're also missing Kyle Duggar, also maybe their best defender. So they're missing two of maybe their three best defensive pieces and their starting center. And they just got smoked by the Chicago Bears, both offensively and defensively. And now they're 3-point favorites at the New York Jets. I don't know. I think the Jets win that game against the Pats today. I'm pretty pessimistic about the Pats per usual, I guess, especially after that last game. I'm also just pessimistic that their horrible management of the quarterbacks is going to linger as a really negative thing for the Patriots and potentially negative thing just from Mac Jones's confidence, stability, consistency, none of which is good for the Pats offense. Lockett, Darnell Mooney, David Montgomery need two to start. Yeah, I would be benching Darnell Mooney in this one. I would start Lockett and David Montgomery, assuming Lockett plays. We don't know for sure Lockett is playing yet. End of the third quarter, by the way, in the Jaguars-Broncos game. Jaguars still down 4 points. They do have the ball. Should be a pretty good fourth quarter. Either way, I could see this game going still. We are live on TikTok and YouTube right now, by the way. Hit the follow button. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed on the YouTube channel yet. I'm seeing some Tony Pollard questions still here. I'm seeing a Pollard or Swift question in the TikTok live. I'm seeing a Pollard question here in the YouTube live as well. Start Tony Pollard. And if you are on the YouTube live, you've already seen it. I have Tony Pollard as my number one running back this week. Live link is in the TikTok bio. Darren Waller is out. Zeke is out. Do I start Metcalf or Najee at flex? I would go Metcalf over Najee at flex. Hey, Sam, DJ Moore, Gabe Davis. I like DJ Moore pretty considerably more than Gabe Davis. I still think Gabe Davis is a really low floor, high ceiling option every week. He's the definition of boom bust. And we've seen a lot more boom than bust from Gabe Davis this season. But I still think Gabe Davis is going to have a lot of bust games as well. Gabe Davis does not have a game with more than 4 catches this entire season. He actually only has one game. Gabe Davis has one game with more than 3 catches this whole season. He scored on 28% of his catches. I mean, crazy efficiency for Gabe Davis. He scored on over 1/4. 1 out of every 4 catches over that has gone for a touchdown for Gabe Davis. And there's just no way. There's no way that rate continues. I mean, that's like times 10 the normal rate in the league. Maybe not that high. Maybe like times 5 the normal rate in the league. But still, yeah, I go DJ Moore against the Falcons. Gesicki over Pitts. Nope. I'm playing Pitts over Gesicki. There's a line for me with Pitts. Like I do think Pitts is a bench, but I'm not playing Gesicki over him. I don't trust Gesicki at all. I think Gesicki's actually coming off like a somewhat good game, if I recall, but I still have no faith in Gesicki. Let me pull up the Gesicki stat line here. It's probably going to make me look bad. No, not really. He had 5.7 points last week. He had 7 targets. He's back-to-back games with 7 targets. So maybe, yeah, there is a case maybe for Gesicki over Pitts. He was the number 1 tight end back in week 6, where he had 6 catches, 69 yards. in a touchdown. You can start Gesicki over Pitts, but for me, that's the line, man. I'm still playing Pitts over Gesicki. I can't swallow that pill yet. Yeah, I'm stuck there. LOL. Yeah, it's definitely tough with Kyle Pitts. All right. Wow, I have a lot of Slack messages here. We got a Deontay Foreman bug, it looks like. Let me fix that. Probably. Let's see. There it is. Bench Dak. Yeah, bench Dak. I would be playing Malik Willis over Dak. Dak is up against the Bears. The Bears have been very good defensively against quarterbacks, receivers, and tight ends. I still start Dalton Schultz. I'd still start CeeDee Lamb, but I don't trust Dak that much. And I don't think that's that crazy. We have not seen any quarterback over 25 points against the Bears defense this season. Are you high on Dalvin this week? Yeah, I do like Dalvin Cook a decent amount. This week, I think I have him in my top 15. He's not in my top 10, though. He's not in the top 10. And the Jaguars punted. Taysom Hill or Tunyon? I'd go Taysom Hill over Tunyon. Cook, Hopkins, Dameon Pierce. Yeah, I want to start all three of these guys. I really do. I have Hopkins and Pierce are the ones in the top 10 for me at their respective positions. I do like Hopkins a lot. This week, I have him at number 6. I mean, we saw it all on prime time. They're going to target Hopkins a lot in this offense. Where does Mooney fall? Yeah, I don't think Darnell Mooney is very trustable in this game. The Cowboys defense has also been pretty good. The Bears are going to continue to run a lot as well. Gabe Davis is a really low floor option. I have Smith, Olave, and Adams. Who do I start? I start Adams, then Olave, then Smith. I would play Smith over Gabe Davis. St. Brown or Boyd, I'd play St. Brown over Boyd. As good as Boyd might be this week, St. Brown is better. QB rankings. Julian, I got you with the QB rankings in the YouTube Live. Again, come to the YouTube Live to see my top 10 rankings, every single position, my DraftKings lineup, my picks against the spread as well. Flex on Raya, you got to flex the MC. I say Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell had less than 5 targets each of his first 5 games. Now, back-to-back games over 10 targets. I think we see a return to normalcy for Paris Campbell this week, who also has Sam Ehlinger starting at quarterback, who was a slightly above average quarterback in college. He was picked in the end of the 6th round last year. I mean, this guy is not going to be very good at sustaining offense. What should I do with Sutton going forward? I think you hold Sutton going forward, and you pray he bounces back with a good rest of season schedule. What do I think about Dalvin Cook? I think he's a good start still this week, even though he's been a little bit of a disappointment this season. Swift, Cook, Montgomery. Yeah, I would rank these guys, I think, as Cook, then Swift, then Montgomery. Let me pull up the running back rankings one more time here. And yeah, that is how I have it ranked. Cook, then Swift, then David Montgomery in my rankings. Van Jefferson or Romeo Dobbs. I personally would go Dobbs over Van Jefferson. First game back for Jefferson, and Allen Lazard is out. I will also say that the best place to go for your start sits, if I haven't gotten to them yet, and if I don't get to your start sit on this live, go to the WalterPicks app. It's completely free to download. You can download it on Google Play. You can download it on your iPhone, and it's in the YouTube description. It's in the TikTok bio, and you can do as many start sit comparisons as you want, and it also takes into account your custom roster, custom scoring settings as well. All right. We're getting a lot of Malik Willis questions here. Should I add Malik and start him over Jared Goff? Yeah, Cody, I would. And I also like to take risks. Jared Goff, though, is already a risk. Jared Goff has, I think, back-to-back, like really bad games. I think this is a better spot for Goff this week. But yeah, Jared Goff, his last 2 games, he scored 6.9 points and 3.5 points, both against decent defenses in the Pats and the Cowboys. But yeah, I don't have a ton of faith in Goff. I think he's Malik. And Malik, the reason I like Malik and why I have him as number 7 QB this week is the rushing. I think he's going to go near 60 rushing yards. That's also why the free prop today is over rushing yards on Malik Willis. I think the prop line makers struggle in these situations where we have a quarterback who's never played in the NFL before. We've only seen him in the preseason. He had 175 rushing yards in the preseason. He averaged over 90 yards a game in college. And he's playing the Texans today, who are the worst run defense in the NFL. And the Titans know better than anyone else that Malik Willis is not a guy you can trust throwing the ball. I have a lot of concerns about Malik throwing the ball. I don't think he's a good decision maker. I don't think he's good at reading defenses. I don't think he has very good accuracy throwing the ball. But the Titans also know this. So I could see a scenario where like it's almost like what you could envision the Saints offense looking like if Taysom Hill was starting. I think honestly, maybe that's the best comparison for Malik. More so than like Lamar, Cam Newton, Vic. Like, and I think he's more like those guys. I don't think he's in that tier, obviously, yet. But like I think he could be in that type of rushing quarterback tier. But Taysom Hill, imagine Taysom Hill starting at quarterback for the Saints. That's probably what it's going to be like for Malik Willis. And that's kind of exciting, right? He's going to run the ball a lot. He's not going to throw the ball a ton. He might not even throw the ball for 100 yards. But yeah, the rushing is huge. And the rushing is OP. It's overpowered in fantasy football, the way that it is scored. So I do like Malik at quarterback this week as my number 7 QB. I am playing Hayden Hurst over Kyle Pitts. I'm playing Dalton Schultz over Kyle Pitts. I'm playing Taysom Hill over Kyle Pitts. I'm playing Pat Freiermuth over Kyle Pitts. I'm playing basically everybody. Malik Willis will have a 250 plus. Yeah, I don't know about the passing from Malik. I'm not so convinced about the passing. But again, I'm in on Malik Willis still because I like the rushing. I do like the rushing a lot. Taysom Hill, Reynolds, or McKenzie at flex. Yeah, I'm honestly going Taysom Hill, I think, over Reynolds and over McKenzie. I get DJ Chark is out still. Reynolds has been – I don't really love Josh Reynolds, though. I've never been the biggest fan. He does have back-to-back – he has had some pretty good games this season. But, yeah, Amon-Ra's back this week. I don't love going with Josh Reynolds. David Montgomery, Benjamin, that one's definitely pretty close. It does sound like Darrell Williams is going to be out in this game. Not sure we have actually officially confirmed. And I think it's got to be out. It's got to be out. Let me see. Let me refresh Twitter here for a second. Still not seeing. Let me just search. Maybe it's just not coming up on my main feed here. Darrell Williams. Not seeing it. Oh, I'm seeing Darrell Williams in, actually. I think Darrell Williams is active. And that makes me like Benjamin less. And I think that Darrell is playing. Yeah, here we go. Darrell is playing. This is important news. And yeah, I wouldn't go Benjamin over Montgomery with Darrell Williams playing. I do think that's actually a pretty big deal for It makes me like pretty considerably less. We did have Darrell Williams predicted as out, so I will update this as well in the WalterPicks app. But it definitely is going to bump Benjamin down a pretty considerable amount. Let's see here. This is going to be like 5 and more like 10 here. So yeah, I would probably bench. I'd probably bench in a lot more situations now that we know that Darrell Williams is playing. It's not like Darrell Williams is like that scary of a player. I still think out touches him, but yeah, I'm nervous for a little bit more now. Darrell Williams is playing. Ayuk, Devontae Smith, or DJ Moore. Yeah, I probably would go DJ Moore, then Devontae Smith, then Ayuk. All guys definitely have some legs this week. All guys, I think, are startable. But yeah, I like DJ Moore the most. I think DJ Moore is locked in for 8+ targets against the Falcons. Jaguars might be driving a little bit here. I got my Gamecast catching up a little bit. Looks like it is 2nd and 10, about halfway. They're about the halfway mark through the field. Amon-Ra or Olave, it's the 4th quarter of that game. We were on Munich time this morning. Amon-Ra or Olave, yeah, I'd go Amon-Ra. One spot. I think Amon-Ra one spot ahead of Olave. Let me pull up my wide receiver rankings again on the YouTube live. And yeah, I do. Sorry, 2 spots ahead of Olave. Cook or Pollard. We're starting Pollard. Start Tony Pollard. He's my number 1 running back this week. Has to be started. Najee or B-Rob. I'm okay going B-Rob over Najee. Playing D. Yeah, you can play DK. I'd play Schultz over Pitts. I'd play Schultz over Knox as well. I would play Amon-Ra over DJ Moore as well. Start 2 Foreman, Henderson, Brandon Cooks. Thank you. Good luck today. Thank you, Elijah. Good luck to you as well. I would definitely play Foreman. I want nothing to do with Henderson. Then between and Cooks, the Darrell Williams news definitely bumps down a decent amount, but I still think he's a better option than Cooks. Travis Etienne, by the way, up to 19 carries, 140 yards. He also has 3 catches for 6 yards. So he's got almost 150 yards, 22 touches for Travis Etienne. Guys, Travis Etienne is the real deal. He is going to win fantasy leagues. He is a top 10 running back rest of season with this type of usage. And he's also an elite pass catcher. We haven't seen it that much in this game, only 6 yards and through the air, but he's an elite pass catcher. Like he's running like real routes. He is like in the closer to the Alvin Kamara type pass catching tier than a lot of other guys in the league. So I do like Travis Etienne a lot rest of season, and he's shown it in this game. I think he's gone over 100 yards, 3 or 4 straight games now. Eno or Michael Carter, I'd go Michael Carter over Eno. I'd go Foreman over Eno. Again, Darrell Williams playing, I do think matters in this game. I would play Garrett Wilson over Josh Reynolds. There's not a player I like more at their price than Garrett Wilson on DraftKings this week. I think with Corey Davis out, he's going to be in a near every down role. I think he's going to lead the team in targets. I don't think the Pats secondary is that as scary with Kyle Duggar out. They're also missing Christian Barmore. Barmore, 2 of the 3 best defensive players for the Patriots. They're also without their starting center in this game. I do like the Jets +3 in that game as well. You can see all my picks against the spread on the YouTube live. A link is in the TikTok bio. All right, let me pull this up here. I'm going to pull up my picks against the spread. Sanders or Smith? I would go Sanders over Smith. I would probably go with Singletary over David Montgomery. That one's definitely close, though. Tight end rankings. Costello, I got you with the tight end rankings. Last minute, Waller out. Picked up Wandale because Metcalf, but now Metcalf playing and pick up Hill. Yeah, pick up Hill. Play Hill at tight end. And yeah, play Metcalf. Metcalf's playing, play Metcalf. And I feel like that. I was surprised that Metcalf's playing. It sounded like Metcalf was going to miss multiple weeks, and now all of a sudden he's playing. But yeah, I think because of that, you kind of have to start. DK, Metcalf, Travis Etienne, guys, #good at football. He's up to 20 carries now, 146 total yards in this game. He's going to be a league-winning player pretty clearly this season. Malik Willis or Dalton. I like Malik Willis more than Dalton. Again, I think Malik Willis could flirt with 100 rushing yards today. He's playing the Texans' worst run defense in the league. He had 175 rushing yards in the preseason. He averaged 90 rushing yards per game in college. This is like a Taysom Hill type player starting at quarterback, I think, for the Titans today. I don't think he's a very good thrower. I don't think they're going to put the ball in his hands to throw that much. I do think they're going to run him a lot, though. At least 10 carries, I think, from Malik Willis today, and he's getting it in a good matchup for that. Gibson or Hunt in a tough spot with Eckler and Bye and Zeke Hurt. Hopefully Sanders has a good game. Yeah, Gibson versus Hunt is tough. I'm pretty nervous, honestly, about Kareem Hunt with the trade rumors. If there's real smoke to the trade rumors, like it makes too much sense for them to not have Hunt very much involved in this game. He's coming off a game where he only had 6 touches for 8 yards. He did score a touchdown, luckily, but yeah, I personally think I would go Antonio Gibson instead in that situation. Oh, got to plug my charger in here. 1 second. We're like 4 hours into this live stream. Computer's about to die. would hate to see that in this week 8 live. We did plug the charger in. Brian Robinson Jr. or Najee? Yeah, I like Brian Robinson more than Najee. Brian Robinson had 20 touches last week. Gibson or Carter? I like Carter more than Gibson for sure. I do like Brian Robinson more than Jamal Williams with DeAndre Swift back. Cooks or Lockett? Yeah, we don't know if Lockett's playing yet still, right? Is that game later in the day, or do we know? Is Lockett in officially or out officially? I don't think we know. Let's see. Yeah, I think that game's later. I think that game's later in the day. It is. Yeah, that's brutal. The Seahawks-Giants game's at 4:25. That's what I thought. And so that we're just not going to know about Tyler Lockett until right before the game. He's testing out pregame. That's a lot of risk for Tyler Lockett, and enough for me to say just don't start Tyler Lockett. Because even if he plays, Lockett's not going to be at 100% health. Jamal Williams is a guy I'm benching for sure. Drop Rodgers for Willis and start him. Don't really want to drop any of my bench players. I have Tony. Yeah, you don't need to roster 2 QBs. I'm okay playing Willis over Rodgers. I will say that's one of them, Jack, that I is not easy, right? Because Rodgers is up against the Bills this one game, but also the Bills defense has been really good. Packers offense has been really bad. I'm okay starting Malik Willis over Aaron Rodgers and dropping him. Top streaming tight end. Yeah, my top streaming tight end this week is probably Noah Fant. He's the guy I'm playing a lot on DraftKings this week. 2, he's probably available in most leagues. I also do like Irv Smith a lot. If he's available, I like him the most for sure. I was able to add him in one league. I'm starting Irv Smith over Kyle Pitts. I'm starting Irv Smith over Pat Freiermuth. I'm starting Irv Smith over most tight ends. And Darren Waller's out this week too. So let me actually update these tight end rankings. Maybe we can pump Taysom Hill here back into the top 10. Darren Waller is out. So I'm just updating these tight end rankings. We're going to put Taysom Hill here at 10. Dak or Geno. I like Geno more than Dak. It's not a good matchup for Dak. Bad matchup for Dak. Dak is up against the Bears. Bears have been top 5 against quarterbacks this season. No quarterback's gone over 25 fantasy points against the Bears. Romeo Dobbs or London. I'd go Dobbs over London this week. I just have no faith in the Falcons throwing the ball. Jaguars decide to punt to Denver from the Denver 48 on 4th and 15 in the fourth quarter, losing 10-14. I mean, I guess you kind of have to punt on 4th and 15, but never great punting in the fourth quarter, down points at half field. It looks like there was a good punt, though. They have it at the 7. So the Broncos have a chance to ice this game. They're up 4 points with the ball, 8 minutes left. Can I start Robert Woods? No, I do not think you can start Robert Woods. I think Robert Woods is must bench this week with Malik Willis starting. I would not trust Robert Woods. I think the Titans, I think the best way that I'm thinking about, or to explain how I'm thinking about what my expectations are for the Titans, is I'm thinking Malik Willis is going to be similar to what we would expect when Taysom Hill is starting, right? Like a guy that we do not trust to throw the ball very much or read defenses or be accurate down the field, but we do trust him to run. And against the Texans, I think that's what we're going to see a lot of Malik Willis doing. So yeah, I do like Malik Willis in fantasy for that reason, but I don't like any of the pass catchers for that reason. Lost Breece Hall, and I desperately need an RB this week. Full PPR. Who should I pick up? Edmonds, Darrell Williams, Huntley, Pirine, Gainwell, Blackshear, and Warren. Oh God, I mean, this is pretty bleak. And I'm not adding Pirine. I'm not adding Gainwell. I'm not adding Blackshear. I don't really want Darrell Williams either. I feel like Edmonds and Warren are honestly the two here to decide between. The Steelers are going to get destroyed in this game. That could be good. Could be good for Jaylen Warren. I don't think they said they wanted to get him more involved, and they sort of didn't end up actually falling through on that. He only played 20% of the snaps, 2 touches. I guess you go Edmonds, but yeah, he's probably not going to do much for you either. Pretty bleak out there at the running back situation. Schultz or Hurst. Yeah, I would go Schultz over Hurst. I would go Kittle over Freiermuth as well. CD, Olave, or Amon-Ra. I have Amon-Ra. I think then CD, then Olave. And again, if you come to the YouTube live, you can see my rankings. Top 10, all 3 of those guys were my top 10. So you could answer that question just by coming to the YouTube live. Link to that in the TikTok bio. Smash the like button, by the way, if you're watching live. On YouTube, hit the follow button if you're watching live. On TikTok, Sam Ehlinger. I do not trust him. Sam Ehlinger is not a guy I have any faith in. I didn't have faith in Bailey Zappi either. So take that maybe with what you want. But Bailey Zappi is also an anomaly. Most of these guys that were picked late in the NFL draft and haven't started in the NFL are not good. They're mostly not good. They're not going to do well. And Sam Ehlinger, he was the last pick of the 6th round last year, 2021. He's 24 years old. He's never played a game in the NFL. He is okay at running, not like Malik Willis good, like that type of speed, but he is a running quarterback. He did run for 660 yards in his best. But guys, he was like a slightly above average QB in the NFL in college. I think he's going to be a well below average QB in the NFL. I don't trust the Colts passing at all this week. The only Colts players I trust really are Jonathan Taylor. I do think Pittman is startable still, but I think there's a lot of risk there. With Michael Pittman, Hopkins, and St. Brown, yeah, I would bench Pittman there for sure. In this situation, I'd play Hopkins and St. Brown. You can see my rankings too on the bottom of the screen of YouTube, and I got Hopkins, St. Brown, both as top 8 plays this week. Tyler Boyd or Gabe Davis, I would go Boyd over Gabe Davis 1,000%. I would do that. I did not see what happened in this Broncos game, but the Jaguars have the ball again. Assuming that means either a 3-and-out or a turnover for the Broncos. Wandale or Cooks. Yeah, I think I would play Cooks over Wandale still. Show the running back rankings. The big thing that should stand out to you with my running back rankings is that I have Tony Pollard ranked number 1. And wow, guys, this live stream's flown. We're over 3 hours in. we're about to be in the witching hour. First of all, and second of all, the Jaguars are marching right now. 1st and 10, 20 yards out, and Christian Kirk just got a 25-yard catch. Shout out to everyone that started Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk, by the way, he only has 2 catches in this game, 15 yards right now. Actually, I think this hasn't accounted for that catch. He catches like 40 yards ish in this game. Christian Kirk is a really good buy low candidate in fantasy football after this week. He has played the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3 best passing defense in his 3 last games. I mean, crazy tough matchups for Christian Kirk and the Jaguars passing attack over the last 3 games, including this one. I do really, really like Christian Kirk rest of season still. He's still clearly the top receiver on this team. I do like trading for Christian Kirk after this week. Eagles D has been super nice for me, but any other Ds you like more? I don't think there's many defenses I like more than the Eagles, though I will say I like the Commanders a lot this week against Sam Ehlinger. Again, I don't trust Sam Ehlinger, and I do trust the Commanders defense for that reason. But I don't think I'd play them over the Eagles defense, who are 10.5-point favorites in that spot. The Eagles are in a really, really good spot in that game. 1st and 10 on the 11 now, another good run from Travis Etienne. We were on Munich time this morning, by the way. Hope you got your start sits in for this game last night or this morning. Eno or Swift? I'd play Swift for sure over Eno. Stevenson, Foreman, Singletary start 2. Yeah, this one's tough. This is definitely tough. I think you got to go Stevenson. And then I want to say Foreman, but Singletary is also a huge favorite. Yeah, I do have Singletary. Singletary is a little bit hit or miss this season. I'm okay benching Singletary. In this one, I would play Amari over Brandon Cooks. Montgomery or Hawkinson at flex. I don't start 2 tight ends at flex. I would play Montgomery. Malik Willis or Andy Dalton. Yeah, I like Malik more than Dalton. Malik Willis could rush for 100 yards today. Andy Dalton is not doing that. Andy Dalton also has no Michael Thomas, no Jarvis Landry in this game. I don't trust Andy Dalton more than Malik Willis. Michael Pittman or DJ Moore is close. It's definitely a close one this week. I actually do think, let me pull up my wide receiver rankings. I do think I have DJ Moore, 1 spot ahead of Michael Pittman. I'm okay going DJ Moore over Pittman. Carr or Prescott? I have CD and Schultz starting also. Yeah, there might be a decent hedge against Prescott then to go with Derek Carr. I also like Malik Willis more than both Carr and Prescott, and he's probably available in your league, and that is also a risky play. But yeah, I do think that it's not a good matchup for Dak. It's not a good matchup for Dak. The Bears defense is good. The defense has been good against quarterbacks top 10, against receivers top 10, against tight ends top 10, against running backs they're bottom 6. They've been horrible against running backs. So I like Tony Pollard a lot. I still like Schultz and CD. I think you got to start Schultz and CD in most situations still. I don't love Prescott, though. I think that Prescott's a little risky. Foreman or Moore, PPR. We got another one. Again, we need the first names with the Moores. And I'm assuming you mean DJ Moore, but there's also Rondo Moore. There's also Sky Moore. There's also Elijah Moore. There's way more Moores than you probably realized. We don't need to spam, by the way, in the YouTube live. You don't need to spam. I see your comments. I'm going to try to get to your comments. Swift or Miles Sanders. I would go with I think I would go with Swift over Miles Sanders. I'll pull up the rankings here to give you an official answer. And yeah, I would go Swift. I would go Swift over Miles Sanders. Kenneth Walker or Olave. I lean Kenneth Walker over Olave. Coach O or Kyle? Oh my God. It's Sean Ford question. Sean, you know it's got to be Coach O and hopefully, neither of them are in this live right now. Both, honestly, I learned a lot from both coaches. But Coach O was much friendlier, I would say, much friendlier, much more pleasant, I guess, to be around, just in general. I feel comfortable saying that publicly, though. I did win a lot more games with Dez than I did with Coach O. Thanks for hopping in, Sean. Always good to see you in the live. Do we like the Commanders or the Pats defense? I lean towards Commanders over the Pats defense. The Pats defense is in a good spot against Zach Wilson, but they're also without Christian Barmore. They're also without Kyle Duggar. And they played horrible last game. So I would go Commanders. I would play Najee over Algier for sure. We are in the witching hour, by the way. If you watch Red Zone, the witching hour is usually the end of the fourth quarter games where wins become losses and losses become wins. But on this live stream, the witching hour is the last 10, 15 minutes of the live stream, which we are in now, where your wins become losses and losses become wins in your fantasy lineups. This is really when you got to make the decisions that actually change the outcomes of games. Kittle or Higbee? Yeah, I would go Kittle over Higbee. I will try to go rapid fire here, get to as many starts as I can. As a reminder, though, the best place to go is the WalterPicks app. I can't get to your start sit. Jared Goff or Geno Smith. I would lean towards Geno over Goff. Seeing someone asking for the wide receiver rankings in the YouTube live. I got you. Why should I play Najee over Tyler Algier? Yeah, so it's not a bad matchup for Tyler Algier, right? He's up against the Panthers. They have been pretty bad just all around as a team this season. I think they rank, the sixth best matchup for running backs. According to what I'm looking at right now, Tyler Algier did have 16 carries last week, only 50 yards. But for me, it's just Najee's going to be out there a lot. He's still going to be very involved. He did have 17 carries and 4 targets last week. And he's playing the Bills. They're going to be behind in that game. I still like Najee's workload better. Is DK in? Yes, so DK Metcalf is playing, and Tyler Lockett's testing out pregame, and that game's later in the day, so we just don't have full info on that game yet. And the Jaguars did score, taking a 3-point lead. I'm not seeing it. Yep, it was Travis Etienne. A huge game for Travis Etienne. He's over 160 yards now and a touchdown. Hopefully you aren't playing against Travis Etienne for all of you out there. But yeah, I do think that let's go KJ Hamler with a big catch. He catches his prop. That's all we needed. We needed that one big KJ Hamler catch, and we just got it. His prop line was at 17.5. He just had a 49-yard catch, putting the Broncos in field goal range. This game, we could have an OT game in Munich. Could have an OT game in Munich right now if McManus is able to cash in or the Broncos are not able to score. Been a huge fan and watching for a long time. Evan, thanks, man. I really do appreciate that. Should I start Metcalf or go with Pickens in the earlier game time? I think I would go with Metcalf. I really would go with Metcalf. It sounds like Metcalf is playing, and it's Tyler Lockett actually that's testing out pregame. I would go Metcalf. Okay. Etienne's having a massive game. Could we get the DraftKings lineup again? Yeah, I got you with the DraftKings lineup. Devontae Smith or Brandon Ayuk? I would go with Ayuk over Devontae. I have to pull up my actual rankings though. Let me see, because I think those guys are really close here in my rankings. Devontae Smith, Ayuk. Yeah, I would go Devontae Smith over Ayuk. I sat Judy. Yeah, you hate to see that. Did Judy just make a play here too? No, I don't think he did. But yeah, he does have 6 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. So not great to be sitting Judy. Not great to be sitting Travis Etienne either. Hopefully nobody sat Travis Etienne. Schultz or Higbee. I like Higbee more than Schultz still. Dak or Goff. I like Dak more than Goff. But I don't love Dak. I actually like Malik Willis more than Dak and Goff. I have Malik Willis in my number 7 QB this week. DraftKings lineup. I'm rocking with Malik Willis in my DraftKings lineup along with Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, Garrett Wilson, Irv, Kenneth Walker. Commanders. My favorite plays this week on DraftKings that are part of this lineup: Tony Pollard, Garrett Wilson, Irv Smith. I have a lot of all 3 of those guys. Garrett Wilson is probably my favorite of the 3 as being a low-owned, low-priced play. Nobody's talking about him. His prop line's like in the 30s. It really should. Everything should be higher. People should be more optimistic, I think, about Garrett Wilson against this pass defense without Kyle Duggar, without Christian Barmore, and they don't have Corey Davis. I think we could see the top rate in this of the season for Garrett Wilson, who hasn't played more than 75% of the snaps in the game this season. Waller or Pat? Waller is out. Darren Waller is out. Get Darren Waller out of your lineups. Darren Waller is out today. Sam, should I start A-Rob, DPJ, Gallup, or Garrett Wilson? Yes, for me, it's between A-Rob and Garrett Wilson. Honestly, I think I would go with A-Rob. Let me see. No, I'm just kidding. I would go Garrett Wilson. I'd go Garrett Wilson over Allen Robinson. It's in my rankings and in my gut. QB rankings. Let me pull the QB rankings one more time. Again, if you want to see my top 10 rankings, every position, come to the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. It is just a little easier for me to pull up comments, respond to comments on the YouTube live, but also you get more info. It's a better viewing experience, and you're like 2 clicks away from the YouTube live to see my top 10 rankings, every position, my DraftKings lineup, my picks against the spread, everything in the last 10 minutes of this live stream. J. Robert Dalton Schultz. I don't start 2 tight ends. Never start 2 tight ends. Okay. Did the Broncos do anything? No. 2-minute warning in this game, and it's 1st and 10 on the 18. 1st and 10 on the 18. All right. Algier or Gibson? I would lean Algier over Gibson. Thielen, Ayuk, or Pickens this week. I have 2 spots to fill. Yeah, I'm okay going Thielen, Ayuk over Pickens. Hey, Sam, big fan. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Trevor. Najee or Ayuk PPR? Yeah, God, that's a tough one. I feel like I'd probably lean towards Najee over Ayuk. Just again, you lock in the touches with Najee more so than you do with Ayuk, though Deebo Samuel is out in this game, and the Rams have not been good in the secondary either. In a PPR league, like Ayuk's ceiling is higher than Najee's. Najee's floor is higher than Ayuk's, though. So it's a floor ceiling question. My gut says Najee, but if you're going for the ceiling, it is Ayuk. Start DK or Cooks. Yeah, I would lean towards DK over Cooks still. I know he's battling injury, but it seems like DK's playing and Lockett's testing out pregame. And if DK's playing, I want to be starting DK Metcalf. Guys, if you're watching live on TikTok, hit the follow button. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. We have been live for almost 4 hours. I've been on Munich time this morning. The Broncos are knocking at the door to either tie this game up to go to OT or score and take a lead and beat the Jaguars. They're down 14-17. They're in the red zone. 1st and 10, 2-minute warning in that game. That game's in Germany. Smash the like button before the live ends. Thank you, Ryan. I do appreciate that. We got about 10 minutes left in this live stream. Waddle or Olave? You got to start both Waddle and Olave. If you come to the YouTube live and see my top 10 wide receiver rankings, you'll see both of those guys are top 10 wide receivers this week. I do like Waddle a tiny bit more than Olave, but it's definitely really, really close. Devontae Smith or Tyler Boyd. I think I like Boyd more than Devontae Smith this week. Harris or Stevenson? I mean, it's pretty clearly Stevenson based on the last game, and I think this will change a little bit more this week. And obviously, it's the Pats. Any given week, we could see more Damian Harris than we're expecting. But last week, Damian Harris only played 20% of the snaps. The Pats were also losing in that game. If they get a lead in this game, we could see more Damian Harris. But yeah, QB rankings. I'm definitely playing Stevenson over Damian Harris. Tua or Murray? I'm definitely playing Tua this week against the this is a really good spot. It's a really good spot for Tua. I do think the Dolphins have a really, really high ceiling passing the ball. Tua should have thrown multiple interceptions last week, so his stat line was sort of better than it should have been. But he gets the Lions this week, guys. The Lions have allowed they ranked 24th against QBs. They ranked second worst against running backs. They've been bad against every single thing. I mean, the defense is bad, really, really bad. And they're going to force feed Waddle and Tyreek again. I like the Tua Waddle or Tua Tyreek or Tua Waddle Tyreek stack in DraftKings as well. Sean is asking Lamb, D Cook, or Cooper for flex PPR. Yeah, I think it's Lamb. Are you high on Tony after this bye week? Nick, I think Tony should be rostered in all leagues. I still think his floor is what it's been, right? Like he's just not playing at all. That's his floor. I mean, that's as low as a floor could possibly get. I also have a hard time seeing Tony be like super consistent in this offense with how many different pieces they have. But I still think the ceiling is high enough that, yeah, he should be rostered in all leagues. We're not starting him, obviously, until we see anything from him. So, like, there's low risk there and high reward. So I did add Tony in a lot of spots. I still prefer Wan'Dale over him. I also think the trade is a good vote of confidence for Wan'Dale Robinson. We're on London time. It's actually on Munich time. I think it's the same as London time. But yeah, we're on Munich time this morning. Eno or Swift? I go Swift over Eno now that Darrell Williams is confirmed playing. Why bench Damian Harris? He only played 20% of the snaps last week. You're also talking to a Pats fan here who thinks the Pats lose today. They're 3-point underdogs in this game. I do think that the Pats lose. Let me pull up my picks against the spread. I haven't talked too much about them in this game, but I did take the Jaguars -1. It looks like they are about to blow it or at least go to OT. It's 1st and goal at the 2 I'm seeing right now for the Broncos, and they scored. Latavius Murray up the middle, 2 yards, and the Broncos take the lead. They're going to be up 4 points. Jaguars not looking great. I do like the Jets +3. I like a lot of the underdogs this week. Packers +10.5. That's a lot of points to be giving to Aaron Rodgers. As bad as the Packers have been this season, as good as the Bills have been this season. I am 52% against the spread, by the way. Obviously, that's good, but it's not amazing. It's very hard to pick against the spread. I do like the Dolphins a lot this week. I think the Eagles completely stampede the Steelers. I think the Bears +10 is just the most egregious line of the week. 10 points to the Bears again. Didn't we just sort of do this on Monday night? I think that's pretty shocking. The Bears are starting to figure out how to play to Justin Fields' strengths. That's a huge deal. I mean, it took them a while, but it's a big deal that they're starting to figure that out. So I do like the Bears +10 a decent amount. The Bears defense has been really good this season. Mostert or Among Us PPR, I would go Among Us over Mostert. I went Najee Harris or Stevenson PPR. Thanks. Oh, my bad, Christopher. I don't know why my mind went to Harris, Damian Harris when you said Harris. But yeah, I would play Stevenson over Najee as well. Dalton Schultz, Robert Tonyan, or Taysom Hill. I'm ranking these guys as Schultz, then Taysom, then Tunyon. I will pull up my tight end rankings one more time on the YouTube live as well. Those have changed now that Darren Waller has been officially ruled out. The Bills called the Saints about Alvin Kamara this week, but nothing came about. Yeah, the Bills seem to be in the market for a running back. DK or Thielen, I would play DK over Thielen. Mooney, Campbell, Brian Robinson. I rank these guys as Brian Robinson, then Mooney, then Campbell. Rondale Moore, Allen Robinson, or Tyquan Thornton. Ryan, I mean, you're digging super deep here. I did think I just read that Nelson Aguilar's in as well, so I think I'd go A-Rob. I don't feel great about A-Rob this week at all. The game is in London. Wait, is it? I thought the game was in. Why have I been saying Munich? I swear this game actually in London. Wait. Doesn't say. It is in London. It isn't. Why am I saying Munich? Why has nobody corrected me? Austin, thank you. We were on London time. We were on London time this morning, not Munich time. Someone told me Munich. I don't know what I'm saying. QB rankings. So I'm pulling my QB rankings. All right. Let's get to a few more of these start sits. Then we will wrap up the live. I will go spend the next 30 minutes myself stressing about my own start sits decisions after helping for about 4 hours on this live stream with all of you. I really do appreciate everyone tuning in. By the way, I would play Olave, I think, over Mondre this week. Exploitable player prop. Yes, my favorite player prop today is Malik Willis, over 47.5 rushing yards. And I like this one for so many reasons. But one of the biggest reasons is also just that the prop line makers, they don't really know what they're doing here, right? We haven't seen Malik Willis in a game yet. And all the stars are showing Malik Willis running the ball a ton today. They're playing the Texans, the worst run defense in the league. Malik Willis has shown no consistency as a thrower in the preseason. He wasn't a very accurate thrower, wasn't very good at reading defenses in college. What he was is a prolific running quarterback, like Taysom Hill type performance is what I'm expecting today. Like what you would envision Taysom Hill being like starting at QB for the Saints. I kind of feel like that's what it'll be like with Malik. He's not going to throw the ball a ton. He will throw the ball a few times. I don't trust him as a thrower, but against the worst run defense in the league, I do like Malik Willis a lot. Hey, Sam, do we have a DFS lineup? Yeah, I got you with the DFS lineup here at the end. I would tinker with this a decent amount. There is $200 left to tinker with here. I will call it my favorite pieces of the lineup. Malik Willis, I like paying down for him. Again, I like his rushing potential today. Don't really trust him as a passer, so he's a little bit risky. I think he might be a little bit better head-to-head cash play than a tournament play. If I don't play Malik Willis, I am going to play Tua, though probably in my DraftKings lineups. I like Tony Pollard a ton. He's my number one running back this week. I think you have to have Tony Pollard in your lineup, even though he will be chalk. I also like DJ Moore as the chalk play. I still like him a lot. I think he's going to see 8+ targets against the Falcons. Garrett Wilson's my favorite low ownership, low price play this week. Corey Davis is out. The Pats defense looked horrible on Monday night. They also are without Barmore and Duggar in this game. I also like Irv Smith a lot as my other favorite piece of this lineup. I think the Vikings have been throwing a lot more recently, and it's the Cardinals. They've been second worst in the defense. Does the Walter app have your full rankings listed? Yeah, Mark. The WalterPicks app does have complete rankings from 1 to 1,000 basically in the WalterPicks app. They do differ sometimes from my personal rankings. Rankings from Walter, our AI algorithm that powers the WalterPicks app, but a lot of times I borrow from Walter's rankings to make my own rankings. So yeah, I do suggest going to the WalterPicks app and seeing the full list of rankings there. It's completely free to download in the YouTube description, in the TikTok bio. Guys, time is the most valuable thing we have. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. That's all I got today. I'll be back live as always Thursday night. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and hitting the follow button on TikTok so you don't miss out on the content I'm putting out every week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good luck today and have a great rest of your day.